Okay, welcome everybody to podcast episode. I think this is number 7. We're going to do a whole rundown review of Myth Drannor. So, with me today, we have a bunch of guests, and before they introduce themselves, I have to say their disclaimer there's going to be spoilers for Myth Drannor, so if that bothers you, maybe wait till you play it to watch this, but just be aware. I wanted to say that because it's still only, 2 weeks about since it's been out as of this recording, so you may not have had a chance to play it yet. But anyways, let's start. And if you all just go around and you all just introduce yourselves, tell people who you are, what you do in terms of streaming or content creation, and yeah, just how long you've been playing the game, things like that. If you want to start a converse, we'll just go around.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome all. Happy to be here. Thanks, Axel. I typically stream on Sundays around 5 p.m. Eastern, most Sundays anyway. You'll also probably see me on the forums a lot trying to organize all the community events to try and find out all of the secrets within DDO.
All right.
And I'll pass that along to the next person.
Yeah, I saw your forum post there where you're trying to figure out, but we'll get into that a little later. Druid's Fire, you want to go next?
Yes. I'm Druid's Fire. I have technically been playing DDO since 2009, but didn't really get into it until the Standing Stone thing happened. And I think my first real experience is I used to do press for MMORPG.com under the leadership of Bill Murphy and got to be in on the press sessions for the Temple of Elemental Evil. But since then, I was like, well, okay, I'm going to play for realsies. And then now I stream on DDO stream on Thursdays in the afternoon. You also come hang out because I'm, very lonely by myself. And also occasionally stream when I have an opportunity in the evenings on the weekends because I have 2 jobs. Fun times. My second boss actually streams on Lojo stream. It's kind of funny.
Oh, cool.
Because he is the Tolkien professor.
Glassjaws, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Glassjaws. You can catch me playing games on Twitch on occasion. I usually stream DDO, but I do some other games on there. Diablo 4 has been one as of recent, if I could talk. And then I do some TTRPGs over on Wanderer's Haven channel. Got Hunter the Reckoning that we do over there, and Daggerheart playtest, a little D&D, a little bit of everything.
All right, Dilemma, you want to go next?
Sure. Dilemander, I generally stream on Twitch Tuesday night raids with the guilds. We get into some craziness, just casual fun Friday nights as well. And we may or may not do a little drinking on Friday. You'll have to see. And then Cozy has no idea. Don't worry. And then Saturdays, Axel and I we've been doing a raid train for, almost a year and a half now. I've been tanking for Axel's raids and trying to get things going. It's picked up pretty well. Just having fun.
Cozy, you want to go next?
Hi, can you guys still hear me and see me okay?
Yeah.
Yay. Hey guys, I'm Cozy Bean and I'm around. I do stuff and things. And if you like stuff and things, then you can find me at twitch.tv/cozybean. And if you like, I don't know, like shenanigans and like weird, unique cringe streams, and you never know what we're gonna get into, then you might look that up. You might type that in. You might. I stream most mornings and evenings, 7:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and we do a lot of DDO and a lot of other stuff. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk about Myth Drannor, and I'm super excited to be invited on Axel's podcast. And especially, we have so many amazing DDO streamers here, and so I'm so excited to hang out with everyone. They're awesome. Go check them all out. Do it.
All right, Waisakai, you are the last, it looks like.
All right. Well, I'm Wise Guy, or the guy with so many names at this point. Streamed DDO since couple of years now. I've been playing since 2009. I'm known for the stick guy a lot, and just play fast. That's pretty much it.
Okay, so you all might have seen there in Discord. I made a whole list of things to talk about. I thought we would just start with the public area. What do y'all's thoughts are on the public area? It looks pretty similar in terms of scope to Keep on the Borderlands. That's what came to mind initially. But is there anything you guys want to say about the public area? I mean, there's obviously a lot more things we'll get to that have more. We'll have more to say, but we'll start with some of the easy ones. Public area. Any thoughts?
I mean, it's beautiful. Oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You go first, but I just want to go as well sometime.
Go ahead.
Class Joss, go ahead.
Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. They did a really nice job there. The architecture, especially all the Corellan symbols all over the old buildings. I was expecting to be a little bit more decrepit, but overall, I really love how it looks.
Yeah, and there's a lot of NPCs around the town you can talk to and get a little more about the story. You can see the mythol there in the sky, swirling around. Cozy, you wanted to say something?
Oh yeah. You guys know Lord of the Rings, right?
Just slightly.
Never heard of it.
I mean, my boss teaches it. Has been teaching a long-term class on the books since 2017, and he's only in Moria right now. I'm just saying, and he does it while he's playing Lotro.
Yeah. So yeah,
Just slightly though.
you just might know a little bit. Okay. I got it. Okay. So you guys know Adoros, the town where they go where Eowyn is from?
Yup.
It reminds me of that settlement so bad. I pulled up pictures of it. If you guys pull up pictures of Adoras, Edoras, it gives me such Lord of the Rings vibe, and it just is like has this good feeling. I don't know. It's just like kind of like nostalgic.
Is it Edoras from the Peter Jackson movies or Edoras from Lord of the Rings Online though? 'Cause adaptations are important.
I've been meaning to play it for a long time, and I was going to play it during the anniversary event this year, but I have not yet. So the movies.
Okay, fair.
Anyways, it's like Glassy and everyone's saying it's so cool, and it's different, which is really good.
Yeah. So oh, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, no, I'll jump in too. I wanted to piggyback off of your NPC comment. Like the amount of text in the NPCs, I thought was an impressive amount. It seems far more than normal. Because usually there's like maybe a handful to like a dozen. There seems to be like 24 per NPC. It was crazy. There's just a lot to enjoy there.
Yes, lots of story in general in this expansion.
Yeah, I would jump in right there. I am a Forgotten Realms nerd, and running into this area and getting to talk to these NPCs and the little things that they wanted to say, even the ones that don't have quest dialogue, it was worth walking around town and seeing what everybody had to say. I do like the fact on a functionality level that there's pretty much everything you want in a short distance there. Some of the public zones you go to don't have a certain trainer, don't have, it's a long distance to get from like the banker to the auctioneer to selling your goods or whatnot. Everything is pretty concise there. Not as concise as say Saltmarsh, but there's more to do. You don't have to leave for your trainers. So I would say it's one of the better zones for just quickly training, getting everything done, and getting out to adventuring, even if it's not in that zone. Because pretty much aside from your guild ship, you can get anywhere from that one area. So that was pretty convenient. And you are only one teleport away, or you can just go back to Gatekeeper's Grove and get to your guild ship. So for those who don't have a direct teleport item for Saltmarsh, it's probably the second fastest way to get to your guild ship.
And it's
I also
not,
like that there's Evening Star too.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
little
a
portal Evening
teleports directly. It's you can bypass the key now. The 30-minute key, you can just don't need it anymore.
that's a great
Yeah,
point.
if you've got
I didn't
the
even think of
direct
that.
teleport, you can do that.
Yeah.
It makes it very convenient. Or if you just go to Gatekeeper's Grove, you're only a teleport or two away, a portal away from getting in and out easy peasy.
Though I will point out the portal needs to have its dialogue box updated because
Yeah.
it's telling going to Keep of the Borderlands. I'm like, no, not
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's some little bugs like that for sure in the expansion. So yeah.
I wish they had a
I noticed
general
that, too.
vendor though.
What?
Isn't there?
They are missing a general vendor.
No, they're not.
Yeah, it's in
Yeah,
there.
there's one there
Yeah, there's one there in a
Okay.
tent.
near the tavern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tavern vendor. It's not a general
It's like
vendor.
No, there's a general vendor on the other side of the tent that's near the
Oh.
tavern.
Okay, I
Well,
missed
there's
that
a-
then.
There's a general vendor at the foot of the ramp going up to the central tower. There's a tent like real close to that. That's right. It's just go down the ramp and there's the
Okay.
vendor.
Okay, so I
Not the
missed that
tavern
guy
person.
then.
It might not
Yeah.
have an icon on the map. That may be what threw you off. I noticed. I think there was one thing. I can't remember if it was the general vendor or not. That didn't have an icon on the map.
And
Could be wrong. Someone double check me on that. But
the vendor is also tucked a little bit into its small tent, so if you're not looking for it, like you're rounding that little corner, you'll blow right past them.
But I think pretty much everything in one is there. Fate Spinner, Class Trainers, Bank. Yeah. Tavern.
Reputation vendor looking at you, Prefect or Professor Fordola, what's her face from Vecna.
Yeah. Well,
Have noise back,
let's move on, guys, to the wilderness area, because I know some of y'all probably have a lot to say, and people seem to really like the direction they went the wilderness area. Now, there's some complaints, too, particularly with the teleports, and we'll get into that in a minute. But what do y'all think about the wilderness area? I mean, I know Dilemma, I know you spent a lot of time in there mapping it out and just running around. And I tried to do the same. I spent some time in there. I know this week I went and did my first run of the rares. I went and I killed the worm and the dragon. What are your all's thoughts?
My first drop in, I spent 6 hours finding everything before anything was up on the wiki with some guildies and friends, and I had a blast. I knew I was going to go in there. I knew I was going to max out Slayers. I had heard that it was higher than the previous Slayer amounts, so I was not daunted at all. And it was worth it. Finding everything, it literally took 6 hours of play to get it all. Some of them were quite frustrating. I know people are having trouble finding the Temple of Moander or Seeds of Decay quest. But once you find that one, and like the Northwest Crater are kind of wonky, or if you're getting the explore points, the Temple of Shondakul, that one threw me for a loop for a while because I didn't think to jump up and grab the air there the way you have to. But I just love all the little touches. They had the correct symbols for some of the Forgotten Realms deities, which if you like your lore, it's there. They've put it all in there. Huge zone and a lot of fun to play, and not super easy. The purples in there can actually hurt you, so, or at least the purple worm can.
The worm's really a lot tougher than the dragon, it seems. And yeah, the quest he's talking about is Seeds of Decay, which is up on in a tree. So you have to go up and around a hill and then up to the tree. I think everyone has a little bit of trouble finding that the first time, but it's not bad. You just got to know to go up the hill and around and up the tree. But that's really the only one that's a little bit not super straightforward to get to, but all the other quests are pretty much just a straight shot. It's not like Wayloon or anything where you have to run in a specific direction to get to where you need to go. But
yeah. I think
there's no points on the map. That I think that's the issue.
Yeah.
Currently.
And I'm curious if that's intentional, actually.
Points for
based
what?
On the lore, there's no map point for the Temple of Decay for you to find it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think that is intentional because it's a walk-up.
Well, the other walk-ups have them, but that one does not. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm curious, though, if it's intentional because it's the portal. One of the kind of things with Myth Drannor and Mythos in general is it lowered the barrier to the planes and kind of portals randomly appear, like sort of with the fire quest. And so I'm curious if that portal, in theory, is a moving portal, quote unquote, and if they actually intentionally left that off.
Yeah, I think it's flavor, but I also think that the chalice should show up for the quest. Technically the portal is the quest giver. Even if they're not going to show the door like they do for every other quest, they should just show the chalice, even with the fog of war on there. Just to make it easier, because it is hard to find in the first place, and without the chalice as a guiding post, you really just have to stumble across it while looking for Shrinshi scrolls.
Yeah, it took me a long time the first time. I got some guild hints to find it.
Yeah, there was quite a few forum posts as well I saw from people who were like, where is this quest? Where is Seeds of Decay? So yeah, what do you all think? Did anything stand out about the rares? I mean, not the normal rares or the explorers, because we've got scrolls we can click on, we've got walk-up explorers, and then we have regular rares, and then we have the purple rares. So
I wish we had one more raid rare in there.
One more.
Yeah, 3 rares sounds like a good good thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because they're all next to each other too.
Yeah, I've been vocal on the forums about it, but I do wish that the the purple name rares dropped one of the Fallen Age weapons every time as a guaranteed drop. I understand the arguments for why they didn't do that, but I still think, especially with the Purple Worm, the work that you go through to take that out, the quickest a full party of my guildies and I have been able to take it out is about 3 minutes and 55 seconds. So if you spend 4 minutes with 6 people on one rare in the wilderness, I feel like at least 330 sentient XP is warranted. That's not a lot. You are going to ransack the chest. It is going to, mess with you. And I don't know, my own personal thinking. If you saw Cordovan yesterday, he mentioned that there are 2 rares spawning in the wilderness every time that are not supposed to be. He did not call out the purple names directly, but they're the only 2 I'm aware of that are spawning guaranteed currently, and they're going to fix that in the next patch so that they do not spawn every time, whatever that may mean. And if that's true, if it's
Yeah.
the purple names, then I better get 330 sentient XP every time I do find it and kill it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they're probably going to make it like Isle of Dread, where there's only one guaranteed purple, it's the crest purple, and then the other 2 may or may not be there.
To be fair,
I'm not
those
opposed as long as I get a reward.
Yeah,
doing
I
it.
mean, just
Guaranteed.
like you kill the purple rares, you get the black pearls, which is the only way non-raiders can get those for Isle of Dread. So, though to be fair, again, they're not doing the interminable ingredient farming to build up a dino bone weapon like this, like Isle of Dread. But yeah, if you're going to go in there and not get your butt kicked by the faster purple worm kill, which I honestly think it's probably a reference to Severland's Brothers show on TV or something. A bunch of people fighting against a mob that will like level 1 character. That's the thing, is there? It's a party of people, and Severland DM'd it once. So that's my personal theory, is that the Purple Worm is a reference to his brother show.
Wait, his brother has a TV show? What?
Yeah, there's a show called Faster Purple Worm Kill, and the premise is a tabletop with a party of some
level 1.
Yeah, level 1s, and everybody goes into it knowing their characters are going to die. The question is how. And so the
Interesting.
DM's job is to actually get them killed in some fashion. It's a lot of fun. I think Seb did like a haunted house one when he did his turn. I think it was linked at one point, but that's the name of the show, Faster Purple Worm Kill.
That's cool. I personally have posted the same thing on the forums. I think the purples should give you a guaranteed weapon, because it does feel bad to spend 5, 10, whatever, how many minutes you spend killing the worm or the dragon, and then you get some arrows.
Nothing.
Yeah,
some
especially with
gems.
the bogs on it right now.
At least if you got a guaranteed weapon, Fallen Age weapon, you would get
Or an augment.
some sentient XP. That might be a little too much, a guaranteed augment, since the way they design the augments is they're guaranteed to drop in chests. They're not guaranteed, but they do drop in certain chests. If it was more like every chest in the expansion had a random augment, maybe, but at least a Fallen Age weapon at the minimum, because you get something out of it when you do it, and it lines up with Isle of Dread's precedent, where you had something guaranteed in the chest every time, the regular bone weapons. So, and
it goes back to Vecna's, taking 2 weapons and turning it in to steps and getting the other one that you wanted.
Cordovan did say yesterday that they are going to make a change where you can turn in any 2 Fallen Age weapons for one of your choice, or any 2 Golden Age weapons for a Golden Age weapon of your choice. So that should be in the game, the next week or 2, I would think.
Yeah.
Next patch, next Wednesday.
Next patch.
Yeah, but I would still like to see a guaranteed weapon so that you get sentient XP at least.
The enemy should be much easier next week too. Right now they've got insane fortification bypass and insane fortification, so you can't crit them and they crit you. That's supposed to be fixed next week on the normal hard quests, which the Slayer counts as.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say that again, Axel? What you just said, that what was going to be fixed next week?
It's not a fix. It's just an addition. they're putting in an NPC where you can trade in 2 Fallen Age weapons of your choice, of any two of any Fallen Age weapons for a Fallen Age weapon of your choice, or any 2 Golden Age weapons for a Golden Age weapon of your choice. Not including some of the, like, doesn't include the shields, or I think the magical weapons, but it includes all the common just DPS ones.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you're talking like the Art Blade and War Blade and all that.
Right. Yeah. And the shields with
shields.
the HP bonus on them, those won't be included. You'll still have to
Where
find
did they
those.
post about that? Oh, I'm sorry.
Cordovan said it on his stream. I think they also might have said something on the forums, but I'm not sure.
Arcaniverse
did.
got them too.
Steel posted about that, I think.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, is there anything else you guys want to say about the wilderness before we move on?
It's really big.
Yep.
Like Douglas Adams' space is big, kind of big.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, it's kind of like it was earlier somebody had said it reminded them of Keep of the Borderlands. I'm like, to me, it reminds me more of Ravenloft of being vast. It's one of the 2 wilderness-y, I don't know, where I feel they really need to be able to zoom the map, in-game map, because I hate not being able to zoom my map. Because I'm just scrolling for days and I don't know where the borders are and whatnot.
Yeah, I agree. When I'm streaming, I'll hit my map and you won't be able to see anything except the map because I've got it spread out over the whole screen.
Yeah, my only constructive criticism, really, it's not even a complaint, but it was just a lot of the map is condensed into the center. So if you're trying to explore the outside, you don't find anything for quite a long
Miles.
time.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did the
it's-
circuit. I did the entire circuit on my last stream last week. And it literally was just me for half an hour riding around in one direction. And then I fell in a hole I couldn't get out, put in a bug report, and then, ported back to town. And then I went back in and went around the other direction and did a little tip touching or something in the middle. But it was like I was scrolling the map around, like, oh, what the heck? So if it needs more mobs in there, because if you're riding for miles, and I was riding, I wasn't running. I was like, okay, nothing's chasing me. What the hell? So I think they really need to put more things in there to kill.
The teleporter guy. I was running around exploring, and then I get to the east side, get in town. I can't go back this side I came in because I didn't do the quest. So I had to go back from entrance and go back to where I was to continue.
I mean, it's an interesting thing to split up the teleport people. I think they're just too far apart, honestly. I mean, it looks right based on our little, Wild West fort here, but in terms of convenience to players, I think they missed the mark on that one.
Do you mean just the NPCs in the public area?
Yeah, in the public
Gotcha.
area,
They
they're
are
like
out in the
from one end
corners,
to the
which is
other
a little
end.
odd.
Yeah, having them stand next to each other, I think would have made more sense. But then again, I also, understand that, the physical portals over here, the other physical portals over there. It looks okay, but in terms of functionality and convenience, it doesn't work.
I'd be okay
Also,
with
the
that.
teleporters used to get out the door instead of going out the door,
Yeah.
which is just weird. And it feels like it's missing one teleporter guy in there to go much north.
Yeah, what do you guys think about the teleports in the wilderness? I was going to ask because there's 2. Okay, so there's ones on the edges, and then there's 2 on the inside. Because I was looking at this last night before I did the podcast. So one takes you to the safe hold, and then the other takes you to portal to below. And those, at least the safe hold, is a pretty centralized location. Although you do, I think, have to do that quest once before you get that teleporter. So I'm okay with it. I know some players have been complaining a bit on the forums because, this gets into one of those things where just players have different opinions. I mean, how much do you value immersion and lore and all this, and how much do you value just convenience? Because some players just want to see them do what they've done in Ravenloft, where you go right to the quest. But I'm personally, I prefer what they did with Isle of Dread, that style, because I think it's nice to have the experience of running up to the quest and having a reason to engage in the wilderness area. But at the same time, I don't want to do the run to like DQ1. Like, I don't want those length of runs to quests. So what do you guys think? Do you think they should have gone farther with the teleporters or not?
it's the right amount for me. Like I said, Isle of Dread I think hits the nail on the head. It's not too far away, but it's close enough. But you still get to see some of the wilderness and check a few rares. Like that was Isle of Dread was perfect for me. So following that formula was I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, Isle of Dread really got you into it. And again, talking about mob density. And if you want to go run the rares, this is one of my favorite things to do, is if there's an easy path, you can go around one way, you can go around the other way. And if you want to go off the beaten path to get your exploration thing done, then you can do that as well and see where they stick the Standing Stone logo in this particular expansion, you know? But I can also value the here's your NPC and then here's your sky coach, and there's like 3 NPCs and 1 sky coach, and then 5 NPCs and a sky, each one has their own portal. But to me it's like, well, Vecna kind of was like you're in one place, but when you have a wilderness, I want to go wander around the wilderness.
It's a one thing I'll say, it's a bit awkward because my last run I soloed them all in story order. It's kind of awkward if you want to run them in story order because you have to go to the quest, come back out, talk to the NPC, run to the quest, come back out. So I don't know exactly what they should do, but it's not very friendly to you if you want to run, because you're going to want to run back to the NPC in the public area every time so you can read the story. So
That's how I'm
it
running
just
it.
is really awkward if you run it in story order. So the way most people are going to do it is just run kind of in a circle around the wilderness area, not in story order. In which case it doesn't make sense because you'll be dealing with the key of the myth all before you get the icons, and yeah. So I'm not sure what they can do there.
I mean, to be honest, I don't think many players run them after the first few goes like that. Like for me, when I did my first look, I did story order, but after I do this 50 times, I'm just going to be like, grab them all, hit them as they're close by.
Yeah. I'm not sure what they can do there. I mean, maybe add a few more teleports. I mean, a mess in chat says I'd suggest a mid-north, mid-west, mid-east teleport. Yeah, that would be okay. I'd be okay with that.
I'd be happy with one more teleport point in between Burial and the one down bottom that's off on its own book burning. Those two are just so far away from even the speculum teleport or going out the west side of the camp that you're in for a run. Now, if you're doing that at the end of a story order, or if you're doing that at the end of the saga, maybe you're finishing up on Leveless NRF and you've done the time quest and you're just going to go down to the Burial. But even then, that's the farthest distance you're going to run from one quest to another while you're doing those quests. So I think one more teleport over on that side in between those two, or even right near the burial grounds one, and then you could run south to get to the book burning would be fine. It's just a little annoying to get down to that book quest. It's so far from everything else.
Mm-hmm. I think that's where I started when I ran the saga last night on heroic. It was way out there, so I just started at that one and kind of twirled my way through the rest of them based on what was closest.
Now, has anybody played the PMP version of Myth Drannor? Like, is there a map that this in-game map is based off of? Like, were they restricted on where they could place things?
So I have the pen and paper versions, and I've played homebrew campaigns in there, but not the. There's a second edition version. There's a 3.5 version, and then of course there's the old school. I don't know about fourth. I never played, but there's an old school original version written in Dungeon magazines where they kind of released pieces of it in piecemeal, and looking at the map that we have versus the city map, which really hasn't changed throughout the various versions, it's close enough for government work. It's definitely not an identical thing. There's no way they could have put a zone that size in there. And some of the things that they're using are referenced in the material, but not pointed out on the map. So they could kind of put them wherever they want them. So they had leeway. They chose well with Myth Drannor because they have a map for the original Myth Drannor. They have a map for when it was rebuilt after the initial fall with the war with the demons, which seems to be where we're at, which is not where they're at in 5th edition. In 5th edition, it has been rebuilt and died again by having a city fall on top of it from the
Yay.
Netherese.
Well,
So,
Elminster, to be fair.
well, they flew their city over top,
Yeah.
and
Elminster crashed it.
they went to war with Myth Drannor, and Elminster was there and did some dirty deeds. But point being, a city fell on top of a city, and it would not look like what it looks like now at all.
Yeah.
So they're going with definitely post or pre-city rebuilt, and that's about as close as you're going to get, I think, with them having the license to really get in and do their own thing as well.
Yeah, that's one thing that really frustrated me. They don't have a Dale Reckoning year for anything, so it's hard to know when this is supposed to be set. But since they're here trying to recapture the city, yeah, it seems obviously post-fall first time. But there's no Fairy, there's very few demons out there. I don't know, it seems like some mix of timelines and just random stuff. So if you're a big Forgotten Realms fan, this is a little annoying.
Yeah, you definitely have to suspend your suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
And then disbelieve some more. But go, you know what? This is the only thing I'm going to see of this example in media, so I'm going to enjoy it. And that's where I'm at as a fellow Forgotten Realms nerd. It's like, you know what? This is the closest I'm ever going to digitally get to walking through Myth Drannor, a destroyed elven city, and helping recapture it. This is awesome. Make no mistake, I find it completely lovable. I've done the saga 6 times. I plan on doing it again today. I will be on this for a while.
I approach it from somebody who has no freaking idea about Myth Drannor from the lore, beyond the fact that there was that one gnome wizard in Evening Star who's like the
right
wizard.
outside of Stormhorns. Yeah,
exactly. It's like Myth Drannor, no idea. So I have to focus on it as the story that they're telling, not as an adaptation, but is the story itself good? Going back to Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson told an amazing series of made an amazing series of movies based on Lord of the Rings. Not very true to the books. Don't get me started. On the other hand, he did a trilogy based on The Hobbit, much closer to the actual book. Please don't get me started because those movies sucked as movies. So I have to approach Myth Drannor as how is Standing Stone telling a cohesive story that makes sense within itself? Why should I care about these characters? Please, can somebody correct the spelling of Kelgoth/Kelgloth? Make up your mind. That's my one biggest gripe about the expansion so far is that first initial quest. They cannot keep the character's name straight, and it just drives me bananas. But the story itself makes sense. You're given a quest to find these missing people, find out what's going on with them, and then you realize, oh crap, we need to find this Mythal thing. And then the second half will take you through the real meat of the story. And does the climax of the story make any sense? Which, of course, we'll probably get with the raid. But what we have so far tells a cohesive story that makes sense. And then you have your little 4 additional quests that don't really tie into it, but gives you a big old dragon to fight.
Yeah, and I was going to go to monsters next, but we can talk about the story now if you all want.
Well, one quick question.
Talk about story.
Yep.
Has anybody taken a Sword of Shadows out to the Temple of Shandakul yet?
I think somebody has been talking about it, but I don't know if they have.
So, Shandakul's favorite weapon is a greatsword known as the Sword of Shadows.
Oh, that explains why Titan was fussing about it in Fridays at 4 yesterday.
Yeah, so I was just curious if anybody has tried that yet.
I mean, I have like 4 of them.
Yeah, that's literally what I'm going to do next, apparently.
Yeah, I figured you'd be all excited about that.
Yeah.
Sounds like
you
we all
hold
might.
out on me on that one. What the hell?
We all might have a 5th one.
What they
soon.
don't tell you is it has to be the legendary version of the weapon. It can't be the basic or the epic. You got to do the legendary.
Well, they're
Not a
supposed to
problem.
release.
We'll do all
we can
3.
get that. Yeah, we'll get all three out there. For you.
I could get all three.
The New Year of the Dragon thing. It's coming.
Maybe we'll finally get an aura on that legendary weapon, cosmetic.
Yeah, we should.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
It'd be a nice little secret.
So I'm sure
Anyway.
Standing Stone is going to keep track of how many swords of shadow people pull out of that Raiders rate.
Well, and they did say there's no like big secret like there was with Isle of Drep. There are some
Right.
surprises, is what they said. So there's
That's
probably
why we're getting a Raiders box
Yeah.
next.
yeah, but yeah, we are getting
a surprise either.
yeah. Well, what I was saying about the Sword of Shadows, we're supposed to get. I think the next is it Year of the Dragon or VIP. I think it's Year of the Dragon. We get
It's Year of the Dragon.
we get a Raiders box. So we'll probably all have a fifth. You'll have a fifth Sword of Shadow. So you
I'm
can enjoy that. Yeah.
Can I say something real quick about the wilderness area before we move on?
Of course.
I wanted to second your guys' stuff about how we could go with an extra teleporter, right? One more, a spot. Or, like some people like it because it has that Isle of Dread feel or whatever. And some people are saying, like, I wish it was like Ravenloft where you could teleport to the quest. And then if you want to do Slayers or Explorers, you can still go around. But the mob, increase mobs. And then also, did anyone really enjoy the different, how it was kind of all the chaos magic and all the different ambiance and setting and music? I feel like that was cool because I feel like sometimes quests get stale, like in the game, like quests get stale and you kind of are, like the marketplace and stuff is just kind of like, you don't, I don't know if you just take it for granted or just overuse, but I don't know. I feel like I really like the wilderness area and I like how different it is. I think I like it all. And same with the quests and stuff.
Well, it's
But
refreshing
anyways.
to get a wilderness
Yes.
area because we don't get them very much.
Refreshing.
We only
Yeah,
get them
Vecna didn't have one.
because they used to do them with adventure packs as a regular thing, and then it moved to only being. Now it's only an expansion thing, and yeah. So unless it's expansion, you don't get it. And sometimes you don't get it even in an expansion. Like Vecna didn't have one. So
Well, that one, I think they said no wilderness with mini expansions, right?
no, well, Saltmarsh
They
had
said
one.
they might leave wilderness out. Saltmarsh didn't have a raid.
Yes.
Vecna doesn't have a wilderness. With a mini expansion, they're willing to leave one of the trifecta out.
Yes.
They're going to give you quests every time. They're probably going to give you a zone, specific to that expansion. But they might leave out a raid or a wilderness. What are they going to leave out? Now, I'm looking forward to the time they give us an expansion that's tied to a pre-existing town area,
Yep.
but gives us a raid and a new wilderness. And they can leave out the town. We have a plenty of town areas. Let's just get some more quests, new raid, new wilderness.
Ravenloft Part 2.
That would be awesome.
That would be ideal.
You'd think they got to do it, Return to Ravenloft at some point. The community consensus, not everyone, but overall, it's considered the best
it would be
expansion.
a licensing thing
Yeah.
more than anything else.
True. Yeah, I'm sure there's licensing hurdles.
They would need to also get a lot of the same voice actors, which for those who don't play Locho, every time I go to both Ravenloft quests, Castle Ravenloft quests, I'm like, why the hell is Galadriel sending me to Ravenloft? Because it's the same voice actor who plays Galadriel in Locho.
Mm.
Yeah. And the abbot in the Sunsword quest is somebody who does rangers in Locho. But then it's because Standing Stone has a studio they normally use for voice acting. So it's always impressive to me when they can get somebody who's a relatively big name, like Amelia Tyler, her star is rising because Baldur's Gate 3. And I don't know if folks really realize just how amazing it was that they got Deborah Wilson for Saltmarsh, because she's actually a grade A, like A-lister in terms of voice acting. She can command some money.
I'll be
She's
honest, I
awesome.
only know the names of like 3 voice actors. Like Will Wheaton.
Shame on you.
I know. Will Wheaton, Cindy Robinson, and Amelia Tyler.
Well, technically, you know 2 more. A Certain Gentleman by
Cordova.
Gygax. No, he doesn't.
That's 4. He did
Well,
Tower
you
of Frost.
also- He did
Ernie?
do Tower, and he also did Catastrophe.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Originally, I understand that No Bob was supposed to do Catastrophe, but it didn't work out that way.
Then we get Keith Baker.
He did
And,
get Keith Baker.
Oh, Gary Gygax, yeah.
Also, Gygax and Arneson did some. But
Travis
yeah,
Willingham.
Travis Willingham,
Travis.
yeah.
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 apparently, Cord once told me that Richard Armitage, who played Thor in the Peter Jackson movies, also did some voices, but he couldn't tell me what he had done voices for.
One of my
He's the-
biggest complaints in Vecna was they changed the voice actor of the Lord of Blade, and
Mm-hmm.
that and Lady Evil.
Yeah, Lady Vo at least could have been explained since she was trying to pretend to be her alternate form at that point.
I mean, I'm okay if they have to change voice actors or get new ones. I mean, it's just reality. You have to recast sometimes. Happens in movies. Can happen in
And
voice
sometimes there's
acting.
a voice
bothered by
actor
it.
strike. I mean, that's what happened with Final Fantasy XIV, where they changed out all their voice actors between Realm Reborn and Heaven's Ward.
Well,
I'm just happy we have voice acting. Let's be real here.
well, let's get into the story,
Yeah, that
guys.
is impressive.
The story from Myth Drannor. So, like you all mentioned, Druid's Fire mentioned Amelia Tyler from Baldur's Gate 3, which I haven't played, but I know a lot of you all have played. Is the big DM here, but there's also a few others. I know there's another guy who was also had a smaller part in Baldur's Gate 3 who's in it. I'm not sure the other names. Sorry. If you all know, you can mention them. But what do you all think about the story? Have you all read through the story? And I know, the thing is, a lot of players don't really care about the story. They play DDO for the gameplay, but I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the story. Did you guys like it? Did you read it? What do you think?
I like the fact that the hidden twist involved a bear again, because that's just funny. After Baron Bitterspine in Feywild. In terms of the story itself, you're looking to gather the ingredients, and then you go find the thing, and then you have a big fight with the big bad. It actually tells you, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. The format of the story works out pretty well. The details, you don't have to know the background, but it gives you enough to. So, as somebody who hasn't read or played Myth Drannor in the tabletop again, I was able to follow what the hell was going on. And that's really important for the folks who haven't gone back. It's enough to get me interested that, especially listening to other folks talking about the things that are missing. It's like, I actually want to go back and give me a wiki page that talks about the actual book and story. And because I'm a historian by collegiate trade. And so the history of things and going back in time and finding out when things happened, that's important to me. That's something I'm interested in. So it's enough that I want to go back and do some more research.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Oh, good.
No, you go ahead.
I like the story. They hit some certain things that I don't know if foreshadowing or not. So they hit on Karsus's folly in the Ogma quest. And so Mythals, if you know kind of like the Forgotten Realms lore, let you do magic bypassing the normal rules of magic. And having Zastam involved with this is kind of interesting to me. I'm curious what they're going to do with the raid, like if he's trying to become a god, right? Like, because they intentionally talk about Karsus's folly there, which, to me is a big call out that didn't need to be there unless they're Chekhov gunning something.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I guess I can give just a quick overview of the story. I mean, spoilers for anyone watching, but basically what you're dealing with is you're in Myth Drannor. You can see the colors around, which is the Mythal. The Red Wizards are trying to take over Myth Drannor. They want to use the Mythal to do that. In the quest, you find different things. Like in the first chain, you find different icons, which lets you get the key to the Mythal to try to access the Mythal. Then you find out the Red Wizards are also in there trying to get that as well. And essentially, you find out the main guy, he wants to take over Myth Drannor, the leader of the Red Wizards, so he can channel the dark energies in the Fallen City to put into his phylactery because he's a lich, and you have to stop them. That's essentially the story. Just FYI. Yeah. So, any other comments on the story?
What I
or
was
did I get anything wrong?
No. What I was surprised by was that they actually, I feel like they wrapped up the story really well within the main series of quests. They didn't really leave any hints as to what's really going to happen in the raid, except for, maybe that God's going to try and do something, or the Red Wizards are going to come back for revenge. It's not specifically spelled out, and there's no big hint to what the big boss is going to be, like we had with Death's Teeth, or the Fire of Morgrave one. Like, they were very clearly like that was going to be the raid boss.
Well,
Right.
there's a few
Not this
hints.
time.
Like they talk about Zastam, right? The lich that we end up killing serves Zastam directly, and he was here to take the Mythal for Zastam. Now, whether they'll use him as a raid boss or not, that would be a little
Yeah, but like we didn't
interesting.
see it, right? Like we saw.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
we saw.
There could be a bunch of lore hidden in the text kind of stuff that, like, maybe, but there wasn't like a clear, oh yeah, that we're gonna fight that in the raid.
I wonder if we're gonna go back in time again for the raid. Do you think that's possible?
That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
To the fall of Myth Drannor?
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
That'd be great,
Yeah.
but I hate that quest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that quest here in a little bit. But I
I-
actually like that quest a lot. But I think
I
I'm in the
think
minority.
It's long.
Yeah,
I think it would
it's
be
a little long.
interesting to be part of the fall of Myth Drannor and to be on the losing side. I don't think typically in a raid when you complete the raid, you win. You defeated the evil, blah blah blah. And if it's a raid set in the past and the fall has to happen, guess what? The good guys lose for a while. So there's got to be a delicate way of telling that story so that players don't get, cheesed off that, oh my god, I just went through all of this and my side still loses. I mean, this is not the Empire Strikes Back where there's a little hope at the end. We know the end of the story, but that's something they got to be careful about telling.
Well, but we would know that they turn it around in the future, which are events we took place in. So maybe it'd be okay.
Like how Rogue One ended.
Yeah, there you go,
everyone
just like
gets
that.
Don't get me started about
But-
that movie. I mean, it's a great movie, but
This is not a Star
Everyone's
Wars
gonna
podcast.
die, but they got the Death Star plans. So it's like, oh. Yeah, I agree. I think they could do
it's kind of like
many
watching
things.
Titanic. You know the damn ship sinks, but I don't know.
Yep. I think it could be cool. I think they did some cool hints in the quests that are like, ooh, they might do more with this. This might come back, right? But this might not be the last time we've heard of this. So yeah, I think I'm excited. I think that's been a fun little tantalizing, like wetting our whistle a little bit. And we're like, ooh, what's it gonna be? I think it's like part of the hype. Like, what is the raid gonna be like? And it's been really exciting. And the storyline was great. And then there were some plot twists. You're like, let me go save some elves. What the F? These are orcs?
Maybe
And
we'll
they're
just
attacking
escort a
us.
bear around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
The
what
whole
I'm
raid.
afraid.
Right?
It's going to be the Law 3 2.0.
Yep.
It's probably the freaking petting zoo quest in freaking Vecna. And we're like taking the bear around and there's just a petting zoo. That's the raid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid he's going to be Anna 2.0. He's going to get kidnapped, save him, walk him around. Is my worry.
And then taking him through time. Yes, so a mix of walking him around and then like the dog in the Vecna quest too, and you're walking them around. Yeah, totally.
Corio's gonna get an appearance.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I would say is and this is something that you can also hear when Cord is doing his, his I'm actually working for the company and can't tell any secrets, is they don't like to close doors. Saying never, they're never going to say never. So having them close the door to some things like, this is not going to be in the raid. No, that's not going to be in the raid. They're never going to do that because they always want to keep those doors open in case they want to pull that little thread. And, if they see the player reactions like, oh my God, we really love X. Then if they had killed off X and X can never come back, well, they just kind of painted themselves into a corner, to use the polite way of saying that. Versus, leaving that on a shelf somewhere, then you could take that toy off the shelf and put it back on the table in a way players will not expect.
Yeah.
Well, I don't get my Jacoby Drexel hand again.
Well, we'll see.
God.
I'm gonna stay with we're gonna go back in time to the fall of Myth Drannor, but because it seemed
I'll go
pretty
the
well wrapped
opposite.
up. But I could be. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It could be a lot of things. There really,
Maybe-
like you all said, there was no
Ooh.
straight clues.
Hold up.
Really,
hold up.
that.
Time it.
Yeah, go ahead.
What? We know that they're going to be doing some event later this year, not like kind of like the Illithid invasion, but something else. Maybe that is going to be the big event where they unlock some more quests through us completing whatever Arcanaverse figures out for everybody. And then,
Get to work.
No pressure.
yeah.
I mean, that's not going to be tied to Myth Drannor. Myth Drannor, I think they said, was going to be like more of a contained story. It's the next one, I think, is going to start to open up the next big wave of stuff that's probably going to tie back to the Illithid invasion. Look forward to killing that Elder Brain. So.
Well, is there anything else you guys want to say in the story before we move on? I do want to have a lot of stuff to get to. So, anything else?
Just that I approve. It's good times.
Yeah.
It's
I'm enjoying it.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Fun-
along
fun
with the
quest.
bear.
The bear.
Yeah, the bear.
Those of a certain age know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was playing a
Yeah.
bear chasing a bear yesterday.
Oh yeah, and like how you said it's like the bear in Bitterspine Palace.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking I liked that it felt like the Grim and Berry.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Grim
Yeah.
Bear. So, anyways, yeah, I liked that. That was fun.
Bears are always opening doors in DDO.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next thing I wrote down here, which is monsters. So we got a bunch of new monsters, some which are brand new, some which are kind of just like more cosmetic reskins. But we got carrion crawlers, which are the kind of the centipede-like things. We have hooked horrors, which are basically the turtles with the swords for hands. We've got the naga, which are the snakes with the creepy human faces. We got fang dragons, a new dragon type. We got imps. We got burning skeletons. We got draining mouths, which are kind of, they look like flame skulls, sort of. Look like a reskin of those. There may be a few others I missed. You all tell me if I did, but what do you all think? What's your favorite monster of the new ones?
Chaos crawlers can eat my whole butt.
I like the
And
I
they
wouldn't want
will.
that thing anywhere near my butt. I'm just saying.
I like the hooked horrors. I think they looked awesome.
I like those too.
They
That's
did a
my
really
favorite.
good job
They're
with the
good.
hook horrors.
Amazing.
I think the
Yeah, I
Nagas
think-
would surprise me the most. Those look sharp.
I hate
Big.
Nautics.
Yeah, zoom into those. If anyone who hasn't,
they
who's
look
watching,
really
like
good.
go into first person mode and run up to one of the naga. They have really creepy looking faces.
I have a
That's-
phobia of snakes, so hell and no, thank you.
Do it.
No.
They're all so cool to zoom in on. Their eyes, like all of the monsters, are so awesome. Yeah, I don't like snakes either. They're rough for me, and spiders. But I really enjoy all of these monsters. But I think the one that takes the cake has got to be the hooked horrors. But they're all awesome.
And do yourselves a favor. There's a treats with the reskinned undead, like just the normal zombies and stuff, like the dwarven artisans.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of those look.
Mhm.
I mean, like the details that they put on them are pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, the flaming skeletons are awesome.
Yeah, the
Really
flaming
cool.
skeletons look really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
The art team for Standing Stone, and they're shared between Lotro and DDO. Well, most of them are, I believe, have been really killing it. They're
Very
they're,
true. Very
They're,
true.
they're
Yeah.
like when I saw the Eladrin, I'm like, I'm gonna change like most of my characters to Eladrin because these are my favorite elves in the game. And yeah, that's why my main is now an Eladrin, who's level 22. And she's a cleric, so I want to get her to epics, but I level very, very slowly. And now I got this new toy to play with, so she's on the shelf for a little bit until I, have some time. I've played through the story once, gotten itself settled in a few times because I can't do a saga in a day like some people around here. But because hey, I also play other games, and again, I have 2 jobs, so. But I'm looking forward to getting my main in there because, yeah, she's got some good charisma dice, and I'm going to have a hell of a lot of fun on Legendary nuking every single undead there is.
Well, okay. Let's
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on the monsters before we move on?
I was gonna say the carrion crawler. It was really nice to see them bring that in because that's a classic, like terrifying low-level D&D monster. And so it was really cool to see that up here.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. I got
And I
one
got-
thing, which is the mobs just cast too much dot.
There's a lot of
just
dots.
annoying.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I wish I wrote down, all of the different because there are new spells and effects and things that they cast that make them different from maybe the monster they were skinned off of, like in the Burning Skeleton, for example. But I don't have all that written down, unfortunately. But there are different things they cast on you. Yep, a lot of dots.
Oh yeah.
I do enjoy
Stuns.
some of the mechanics. Though.
Don't
Like they put in some more battle mechanics.
is it-
Yeah.
The circles, for instance, again.
Mhm.
Yep.
Some triangles we got to worry about now.
Hmm.
So we're good. I enjoy that stuff.
I like how Vecna was rectangles with the Vrox and whatnot, and this one is more circular things.
Yeah, Venn
Like,
diagrams.
they're curved versus straight edged, one expansion to the next.
We're getting all the different shapes, guys. We're learning about all of them.
They might be giants will be proud.
We've got rectangles and circles and triangles, straight
Oh
lines.
my.
And bears, oh my.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was good.
Okay, guys, let's get on to loot. So we got a new system, the Sun Moon Augment system, with this expansion, which means basically, so there's no set augment. There's no set. I'm sorry, set bonuses inherent in the loot. What you do instead is you get sun and moon augment slots. The sun are artifact, the moon are profane. Hopefully I'm not mixing that up, but one of them's artifact, one of them's profane. You find augments and you slot them into the sun or moon augment of your, or the sun and moon slot of your choice. So it's equivalent in a lot of ways, but it has some advantages. It's more customizable, obviously. Another big advantage is if you are into min-maxing your gear, you can put your set augments onto the new gear, and it doesn't override them, because of the way with the raid set augments, the way they worked before is they would override your set bonus if you had, say, like a part of the family set. With these, it doesn't. So that's a big advantage for people who are going to do loot testers to min-max their gear sets. So, but also there's some downsides. I mean, it's going to be harder to get what you want. I mean, the augment drop rate seems to be, which we can get into the drop rates here too, seems to be, they are unbound. So I don't know what the drop rate is, but maybe they made it a little bit lower because they are unbound. I'm wondering if that's the case, because I went over 40 quests and I only pulled one augment. But I know I got unlucky. I did do another heroic saga yesterday and I pulled, I think, 2. So I've gotten 3 in, say, like, I'm probably up to almost 50 quests at this point. But
Yeah.
what do you guys think of the sun moon augment system?
I haven't seen one, so I have no idea.
It's a saturation issue, which is what the problem is. Because the actual pull rate from chests is still the 30% or 33% rate on Elite. You're going to see a named item. In the past expansions and packs and all that, typically you have, 2 to 5 items. We have twice as many items per chest that has a named loot. So the odds of getting what you actually want is now lower. And that's the issue, I think, people are running into.
Even worse than that is that they added the rare loot table on there, which is supposedly like 5%. Is what
5-10%, something like that. I don't. We
don't
don't
say
know.
a percentage. Yeah.
So I don't recall if they said an exact percentage. I'm going by some forum math that someone was doing the other day, and so like 33% chance to get an item, and then 5% for rare. They were talking like 86 weeks on average of ransacking.
You can just do some simple math. Let's say it's a 10% chance for the rare table, and there's 10 items on the list. That means you have 1% chance to get the item you want every time you pull. Right. So it's going to be 100 pulls on average to get what you want. So
about 3 months.
Yeah, so considering ransack, you better have alts. And this is why everyone should have alts. Yeah. And you shouldn't just play one character, because you can basically not worry about ransack if you have just a few alts. So
not just alts, you also want to have guildies or friends.
Yes.
You want to have 6 people pulling on the chest.
Yes.
Get yourselves, if I find, I play tanks, my guild knows I play tanks. Anything tanky comes up, they don't even keep the first one for themselves. They pass it to me, because I'm probably going to be the tank as we play through higher level content or raids. And then we've got people like Axel that play more healer types and melee damage dealer types. We've got people that play range types. Everybody gets their preferred play style thing first, and then you keep the spare one that you find if you pull another one for somebody else. If you have a group like that, it doesn't feel as bad. I've been through the chain now 6 times, 78 quests. I have about 13 augments. I have pulled about 40 pieces of other gear besides augments. So it's not horrible, but I haven't pulled a Golden Age weapon yet. I've seen 2 pulled, but I haven't pulled one yet. And I'm like, okay, that's a lot. 78 quests, optionals in all of them. The purple names I have ransacked on 2 separate characters, both of them. And I haven't seen a single Golden Age weapon myself. So
were you running discovery potions with that as well?
I am not running discovery potions. But even then, you're looking, 33% chance for in a quest, we're doing R1 and higher, 33%, 34% chance of a named item. And then if you roll a named item, a 5% chance, according to the people that look at these things, the numbers in the game, 5% chance of that named item being upgraded to a rare on the list. I'm just not getting that. Now I have gotten a few of the armors and stuff and a few of the shields from the quests that have those things, which are specific named items, not random Fallen Age items. But it's still one of those things where I'm not frustrated with the loot drop rate because I'm patient and I don't care if I don't have a set next week, next month, or even 3 months. It took me 3 months to get my IOD set for my one main character that I wanted to have it on. I don't mind if this takes me 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. But there are a lot of players, especially the high-end players, that they need to get their loot Tetris sorted and see if it's going to be worth it because they need to get back to their high-end play style. And farming for this gear is not going to work for them. And I understand that too, but we can't control what the devs do. We can only tell them what we do and don't like.
One thing that Arcaniverse also hit on with the saturation, any of your named items can be replaced with a weapon. So there's even more on the table than, like just the named gear. The weapons
No, that's a
can...
separate line.
that's a
According
separate
to the math, the Fallen Age drop weapon suite is its own line that can then upgrade to a Golden Age weapon. But then you
sure?
also have, there's a 3-piece drop chance. There's 3. You can actually pull 3 named pieces of gear in the end chests because of the way the lines work for the gear sets.
Okay. When Steele explained on the Lamania, I could have swore he said that any named item could be replaced with a weapon.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Maybe
Yeah.
they changed that since Lamania.
Yeah,
but...
not to my knowledge anyway.
Do you consider the augment as a named item, or
Yeah, augments are named items, and some of them are rare, supposedly.
Yeah,
because I've gotten a Fallen Age, a named item, and in a augment in the chest.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the way it works. You can get a weapon suite thing. You could technically get possibly 2 things that look like part of the weapon suite because you'd have the weapon suite like a Fallen Age item. You could get an armor, which would be then a named item, and you could get an augment all at the same time. You could even then have that weapon suite upgrade itself to a golden age and have an armor and or a shield, a named item, and have an augment all at the same time. Is it likely? No, but it's possible because of the channels they travel on.
Have you seen the 3? I've never seen the 3.
I have. I've gotten it.
An augment, an item, and a weapon.
Yep.
Yeah, your guys' luck
I
are
saw
much better
a weapon.
than mine.
I saw a weapon, a Fallen Age weapon, a set of gloves, and an augment that a guildie of mine pulled on, before we came on here today.
Nice. I've run it twice. I've got 2 pieces of loot and 1 augment so far, out of running it the saga twice.
It would be nice if you could say, like, this expansion, unlike some others, they didn't have like a little ingredient that drops to the end of each quest, where it would be nice if you could get, like, say 50 ingredients to turn in for an augment of your choice or something, so that if you go too long without getting what you want, you can pull it. But they probably won't do that since specific augments drop in specific quests.
Some kind of bad luck protection would be nice.
And they probably won't do, like, say, turn in X number of augments for your choice of augment because they are unbound. They're probably not going to do that.
Probably not, no. But but as far as I'll just leave it one thing here. As far as the chest drop rates from quests, like, I can deal with that. It's a bit more rare than normal, but, like, I can live with it. It's the wilderness ones that get me, because we can only run them on normal. And those ultra rare items especially if they're going to not stop spawning all the time, like, that grind is way too much. Like, that puts it in Nebula Fragment territory, Jibber's Blade, to the point where, like, I just might as well assume it doesn't exist, because, like, it's not going to drop for me if I keep farming.
And don't those
How much you dropped
cloaks
so far?
I'm up over 500 chest pulls on each.
I think they drop the purple rares. Don't they drop the cloaks with the HP bonus on them? I think they do.
That's what I'm
A
chasing.
lot of people are going to want those. Yeah, it's even in heroic. There's a heroic item with 15% legendary hit point bonus on it, which is crazy.
I don't care about the
that
hit
in a
point
heroic
bonus. I want the freaking moon cloak because it looks amazing.
I agree.
I want the darn Eladrin cloak on something.
Oh, the one from the iconic that you get.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's so
looks
good.
amazing.
I love that.
Mirrors of glimmering for the win.
You
Aren't
can't.
they bound to the race?
Yeah, they're bound to the race,
That's
It
unfortunately.
only
okay.
works when you're playing the iconic Eladrin.
Yeah.
Okay, well, sounds like I need to roll my iconic Eladrin. I sandbagged a name back in the day, but I haven't actually build to say. I've been waiting for Strim Tom to do a basic build, and he hasn't done it yet. So
Yeah, I wonder why. I mean, a lot of those iconic would be nice if you could claim or some of that stuff, because there's no reason like a Morning Lord helm or something that you get can't be used on a regular elf. Like they share the same body type. Yeah, go ahead.
Or even if that particular character TRs, they have it in their inventory.
Yeah,
They
you just can't
literally
use it.
just can't use it.
Yeah, go ahead, Cozy. What were you gonna say?
Okay. I know we were talking about the loot drop rate, right?
Yes.
Do you guys think, because I've seen a lot of people on the forums who are really, really frustrated with it, or do you guys think they're going to do anything to change it?
They might.
My issue is with the fundamental of Red Zack. I think it just throw a wrench at the like probability of getting an item.
I mean, I don't think ransack or getting rid of or increasing the amount of ransack would solve the problem for me. I mean, like you said, I think you told me about somebody who had over 700 chest pulls before they got the cloak they wanted. You know, that's just too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I don't think
I'm hoping for raid room turn in for the rare stuff. That's
I
my
prefer
That
favorite
would-
doing
for
at
'em.
least on the same character instead of having 14 character.
True enough, but still, like that's. Imagine running the same quest to get 700 loopholes,
Yep.
or the
That-
same
that-
rare, right? That same fight over and over again. It's monotonous. It's to the point where it's no longer fun.
I saved that kind of grinding for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, well, I know Cordovan mentioned something on the. Well, he acknowledged that there's been a lot of discussion on the forums over drop rates. He did say that yesterday on his stream. So, will they change it? Keep giving your feedback. It's possible. They always can.
I mean, raid room is like one of the best thing for for loot. So do something like that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess the last thing on the loot, is there any other specific pieces of gear that you guys are really looking to get that you haven't mentioned yet? I know you mentioned the cloaks. I know those shields look really cool for tanks.
The guard breaking large shield finally after years. My dream came true. I can't wait to play with it.
It is amazing.
Yes.
Wait, what did you say?
There's a guard breaking large shield, which is the first one in existence.
Oh my gosh. We talking gear? Is that what
Yeah.
Axel asked? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmetic, everything looks good. So mostly cosmetic stuff. I haven't had chance to actually make a gear list, but cosmetic, I want a lot of stuff.
Same.
That's where I'm at. I'm actually a lot more interested in heroic stuff. I think I want to put together a gear set for just 15 to 20s when I do iconic TRs. Like, because I already have my 3-piece Sharn set, so I was thinking of getting a profane, like three or four pieces of profane slottable effects for Myth Drannor. I could just throw that on at level 15. So that's what I'm looking to do personally. But as far as the gear touches for endgame, I'm not even. It's hard for me to give an opinion on the loot because I just have not really done the Tetris yet.
Yeah, I can't start it until I get the cloak.
I
If I can't get the cloak, I can't replace
But they're
any
going to be
set
meta.
bonuses.
For anyone wants to know, yeah, they're going to be meta. It just for nothing else, for the fact that you can put in your rate set augments and it doesn't override. And there's a lot of power. There are some power increases, like the profane stats went up to +4. You got the shield, which gives you like +20% on the tower shield for legendary, so it's a good alternate now to legendary green steel. But there's a little bit of power creep, but the gear overall just it's an upward progression, but not to the level of say something like Isle of Dread. But it's still going to be a lot of meta stuff.
But I do really hope we see Sun and Moon past Myth Drannor. I know that they've teased that they might, but they always say that, right?
Yeah, I don't think. I don't
Yeah,
think.
it goes back to never closing a door.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they don't want to. They're like, yeah, they never say never.
But
without
without something like that, though, my fear for Myth Drannor is that it's not going to have the long-term viability that other expansions enjoy, right?
Without
like
what?
Without something to carry on into the future,
Okay.
right? Where it's because like Ravenloft gives you that level 10 weapon, it gives you sentient items for the first time. Sharn gives you artifacts for the first time in a quality level 29 gear set. Same thing with Feywild, and also with the empty vessels with Feywild. Like that's going to last forever, right? Isle of Dread has its own few things as well. But like Mr. Drannor, like it doesn't look like anything it has any staying power. So I'm worried it's going to become like another Shadowfell, where it's just, do we even need it?
Well, you need it if you want to min max, because there certainly is a
I
little
mean,
bit of
for
power
now.
creep for now. Well, it's going to be
Yeah.
the main.
It's mid legendary, right?
But yeah, they're not going to do another big power jump. If they do one, it's not going to be for 2 years, because they never do big power jumps on mini expansions, and they've been alternating mini and full, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not expecting them to do any kind of vertical power increase next year whenever they do a mini expansion, which
Short term it's going to be great, but I'm thinking like extra long term when the level cap is 40 and this is mid range content. Like, what's this? Like, because like Sharn and Ravenloft and Feywild are going to be good forever. Those are always going to be like, get those expansions. But like Mr. Drannor, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to say that 6 years down the line.
Yeah, because I don't see right now I don't see myself running mid Drannor for leveling.
It is long for a saga. It's not efficient the way that something like Cogs is for XP per minute.
Running the wilderness to go to each quest.
See, I think of it. I'm looking at it the other way. For leveling, personally, I'm a relatively new player. I started playing near the end of the pandemic, so 2021. I have not played this game long term, so most of the content that I know, I started just before Saltmarsh came out. Feywild had been out for a little while, I guess. By that point, it's previous to me. But long story short, I know the expansions. I know the content of the expansions, but you put me in the marketplace, I don't know most of the quests. I've done them all. Other guildies have led me through them, but when I'm left alone to myself and I have to pick a quest to do while I'm leveling from 1 to 20, I'm never going to the marketplace. I have a level 3 saga I can run and get a saga bonus from. In Saltmarsh, I run that at level 5. I run the whole thing. Then I leave Saltmarsh, I go straight to Feywild. I run that whole saga. I leave Feywild. Now I go Vaughn, do Vault of Night stuff, or go do things over in House Kendaric to get some favor. And then I find myself Isle of Dread, all of these kind of things. I jump from X pack to X pack. I don't do adventure packs because I don't know them that well, and I don't get the saga at the end. So having a level 14 right at the end of a level 13 saga right at the end of Barovia, to be able to just go right now, when I exit Barovia, I'm lost. I don't like Giant Hold. It's probably my least favorite saga. I do it if my guildies want to do it. I will never choose to go do it alone. I will never sit there and run that saga by myself. I know it. I'm never going to touch it unless somebody wants to do it. Now I have somewhere to go. I can hit that. I can leave from there and go into Sharn if I want to, or I can go run. I like to go to Evening Star. I don't even go to Sharn in Heroics. If left to my own devices, I go to Evening Star and go up from there. So there's always been this gap for me where when I finish Minik Turin and Ravenloft, what do I do to be strong enough to get out to Evening Star? Because I'm not there yet. And now I have that. So this will always be part of my racial train going 1 to 20 or anything else. I will probably start Iconics by doing this. I'll start at level 15. I'll do these level 13 quests on R1 and go up. And I'm looking at that now and going, this is perfect. I now have a place to start when I do an Iconic. I now have a place to start once I finish Barovia. I love where this is placed. Now, is the level 35 content going to stick with me? Level 37? I don't know. Obviously, while it's cap, it will. But we'll see what happens with legendary reincarnations if that ever becomes a thing. You know what I mean? When we get to level 36 questing, level 38 questing, and they decide now we want to throw something else at them, I'm pretty sure we're going to have some wraparound where this is on our plate for 5 to 6 more years. And I think it's going to last, or at least be an option, because everything else has been done. And we're going to want to do something different because we've done Sharn 1,000 times or done whatever, IOD 1,000 times.
I do think the heroic is going to have a little more staying power, like you're saying. It's in the perfect spot to where if you roll up an Iconic, you can be in the perfect position to run it since it's level 13. But I'm with you. I don't really like Giant Hold, so I'll probably be running this instead of Giant Hold. But
I love Giant Hold. It's down on
I
Giant
like Dilemma. Do you
I've
run
done Giant Hold too much.
Do you run
I'm sick
Necro
of Giant
4?
Hold too.
I like
I'm sick of
Necro
it.
4 a lot.
I
It's a
I
good
don't
one.
like Giant Hold either, but the XP per minute, I'll have to test mid-trainer and see how much the XP per minute is.
It's
compared
not
to
It's-
Giant
good.
Hold.
It's
That's
not
the
gonna
other
hold up
thing.
at all.
That's one of the next things because I wanted to jump to the quest next.
Well,
And-
one second before the loot.
Yeah,
before we
go
leave
ahead,
the
go ahead.
loot.
We can finish up on the loot. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is one I think our Caniverse will probably be interested in. The 3 named blades. Because for a Lord Nord like me, those are really important. So we got the Art Blade, the War Blade, and the Ruler's Blade. So they named it Crown's Blade and then put text that it was the Ruler's Blade on there. I think if we're going to have any secrets, there will something likely be around those.
I got one of them. I got the black one, black and red one.
Nice. Yeah, because in theory, those
should be Art
blades...
Blade.
It looks good.
Yeah. So those blades determine the rulers of Corminthir. So, like, those things should be really interesting as far as, like, NPC interactions, stuff like that.
Yeah, I got my eye on them for sure. Nothing yet, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
I guess
We're
I gotta go
talking-
look that shadow.
Yeah, we're gonna try out the Sword of Shadows as soon as I can.
the last thing I wanted to say about the loot is the I think the heroic loot is in a really good place. Like a lot of people are already running a 15 Sharn set, and this is perfect for getting a few items that you can slot around your Sharn set. So I think and I know Arcanaverse mentioned that where's the loot going to be in the future. I think that's one place it can be in the future is in heroics. But yeah,
That's a good point. Heroics is good.
I think heroics is really where it's going to shine. And there's a few that I think are going to have staying power, like the shields. Are they going to put those legendary bonuses elsewhere? The 15 and 20 specifically for tanks. Are they going to continue to put that on shields going forward? If not, or on single items. If not, then that could be something tanks wear for a long time forward. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the raid loot as well. Because I know Sarge mentioned in chat here, there's still a lot to be told about what will be coming out in the raid. Yeah, we don't know. The raid's not out yet as of the recording of this video, so we don't know what's going to happen there or with the raid loot. So, yeah.
Well, make sure to give your feedback to Steelstar on the forums right now, because they're taking ideas for the raid loot at the moment. So if there's things that we want to see, we need to get that out there to them.
Is there anything else in the loop before we go to the quests? Cozy, did you have something?
No, I'm good.
You're
I'm
good? Okay. I thought
actually.
you were
Yeah,
raising
yeah.
your hand there. Okay.
I was, and I forgot what I was going to say. All good.
Okay. Okay. So what else? We mentioned, okay, let's get to the quest now. So the 13 and 34 is the levels, and we really already talked about that. I think a lot of us like the 13 spot for these. There's no flagging, so the quest can be done in any order, even though it doesn't make sense for the story. You can just pick up all the quests and do them all in any order. It doesn't matter. Let's see.
I thought there were 2 that were locked. That you had to complete the first 4
Don't think
in the first
so, no.
saga to get the last one.
No, you can
Nope,
just
is it?
start in on any one you want.
Yep.
Yeah, like that style.
Yep. The only thing that's locked is you won't be able to teleport out to the to the quest area via teleport until you've completed those quests. But the actual quests themselves, you can just pick up the quest and go do it.
So what do you all think about the XP? Because to me, in my opinion on the XP, it felt a little low to me. Because I know first day I got my 32, just right at 32, and I started, and I did the whole saga on Elite the first time, and I did a few of the quests twice, and I still didn't have level 33. So what do you guys think? It feels to me like they should increase the XP overall by maybe 10%, 15%.
I agree.
Well, I think what you said there is interesting. Most sagas I find tend to give you somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 to 1.5 million XP. Maybe 2 million if you're running, 50% pot the whole time or something like that. The distance in experience from 32 to 33 was how much experience?
I'd have to look. I'm not sure. Anyone
Well,
know?
it was more than 1 million because 29 to 30 is 1 million XP. So going from 32 to 33, I didn't expect any one saga in the game to get me there. I didn't expect 13 quests to do it, or even 15 or 16. I went into it thinking, hey, if this gets me 60% of the way to 33 in one saga run, 75%, that would be great. So I think some of that is tempered expectations. I saw where we were at with Vecna and what they were doing with the experience, and I went, I don't think they're really going to make any one saga give you that much more of a percentage of a level than what they are already doing with it. Now, that having been said, there are a few quests that when you get done with it, you're like, that was way too long for what I just got. And then there are some quests where I get done and I go, oh, that felt about right. There was no quest that I got done with and went, oh, I got that much XP? That's awesome. That did not happen.
Yeah, I did it on heroic intentionally to kind of measure the XP versus like giant hold and the time. And so like if you do every single one of them, it was a level. So I was brand new iconic. So on R1, it got me to 1 bob into 16.
Yeah, I think the heroic, and I was referring mainly to the legendary. The heroic felt fine to me.
I mean,
In terms
the
of
amount of
XP.
XP I got for all of them was fine because it would get me to 16, but it was really low for the amount of time. Now, granted, just learning the quests and everything.
For
So
first life.
Yeah, that could help too. And I'm just going off feel. I haven't looked at the actual numbers. It's just when I ran 17, 18 quests and I still hadn't gotten my level, it just felt like a bit much. But it learning the quests will help more. And I've since then I've learned them better and better, and I'll continue to get faster.
yeah, I should clarify. It wasn't a first life iconic. It was my main, but freshly TR'd.
Yeah, same for my heroic runs. I was on a third life plus character. So,
But is that better, worse, or about the same as Giant Hold? What was the conclusion? Or is that still testing?
So there's a lot more quests in here, and so they got me, further than Giant Hold would have got me. Just the 13s, right? So I wasn't in counting the Giant Hold 14s as I try to break those up. I do think this adds a nice little extra to keep you a little bit more double capped, because there's that huge XP loss between like level 12 through kind of 16, unless you're running a lot of bad quests. So I think this helps in that regard, but these quests are so damn long.
How many XP you get from the saga on Eric if you turn it in?
isn't it the same as the others?
Is it 45?
Yeah, it's the same as Giant Hold, 46, I think. Yeah.
But you have to run
Yeah, 11.
4 quests more?
13 quests. So
13,
yeah. Yeah, and then you have the factor of the runs, which decrease your XP per minute.
Right.
What were you
And all
saying?
these quests are long.
Mm-hmm.
The saga is the same. The saga XP is the same as Giant Hold. How much? Or 13
It's
quests?
like 45-ish K, something like that.
45 what?
45K XP, Jim, I think, for
45K.
heroic, and then I think the legendary is the same as all the other legendary sagas. Someone correct me
Yeah,
if I'm wrong.
276 if you're doing it on Elite or higher.
Yep.
The gem that you get when you pull for the saga at the end.
And the saga reward list also gives you skill tomes, and you can also pick from cards.
Yeah, I was really expecting +4 tomes out of this one.
Tomes would have been nice. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, give us +4.
I think they'll do +4 at the 36 breakpoint and 5 at the 40. I think that just makes sense from their perspective. They're kind of withholding. They still want to sell things, upgrades and stuff.
Well, guys, I thought we would just go through each quest one by one and just, any comments you have on the quest, just say as we go. I thought we would go in story order and then do the side quests after. So the first one is, and this is part 1 of the chain, the part 1 of the story. So there's two chains in the story. There's part 1, there's a part 2, and then there's the 4 side quests. So the first one is called the Safe Hold. This is a quest where you go look for Kelgoth, who's one of the missing drow inside the speculum. This is basically, in terms of design, it's a crest quest. Basically, there's some crests on the right. You need to pick up 3 of them. You go to the left. You plug the crests in. You find Kelgoth, who's not in a great state. And you have a fight. There's not too much else to say. What do you guys... have to say about. What do you guys think about this quest?
How
They
much
need
did
to
you like
correct
that
the
ceiling?
spelling.
Oh, go ahead, Arcanaverse, and then we'll have Druid's Fire.
Yeah, sorry, Druids was talking about the misspelling. It happens.
Yeah,
But though that ceiling, that main room, the cathedral ceiling, did you look up?
I don't think I did.
It's
What's up
worth a
there?
look up. It's beautiful. It's like, golden inlay, a bunch of like rubies and stuff. It's kind of nice. I wowed the first time I saw it. So
I didn't look. Sorry.
in fact, I would say that's pretty true for just about every one of the quests in the main quest line. Is that each one of them at some point has an impressive ceiling. I found that wild. I wasn't sure if that was like a design direction or what, but they're all pretty neat.
Well, I'm gonna have to go back and go look at the ceiling.
Yeah, I'll look next time I run it. Hopefully, I don't forget.
You think the number of times that oozes drop down from the ceiling that people would be in the habit of looking up.
I watched the movie Don't Look Up, so I stopped.
Mm. Yeah, I think my biggest gripe, I mentioned this before, I'll mention it again, is the fact that they couldn't keep the actual focal character's name spelled correctly. Like half the time it was one thing, half the time it's the other thing. And as somebody who is mildly dyslexic and has trouble sometimes reading stuff that's not familiar to me, I found it very annoying.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, and it's also something that I would have expected better, right? And it is a disappointment for me because, and I know they have QA, I know they have X, Y, and Z, and I know that, there's not too many people who actually work on DDO Surprise. It's not a huge team. We know this. We don't know numbers. But something that basic on the very first quest, it makes me sad.
I really like one of the things with the quest design of the expansion, and I like the quest design overall a lot, but probably one of my biggest complaints is, and this quest sets a trend, is, man, they really like crests in this expansion. Yes. There are so many crests. Like, there's crests where you get crests to open doors, to get more crests to open more doors, and it's just was a bit much. I think they went overboard with the crest. One thing that would have helped a lot, and devs, if you're listening, this may be something easier for you to do. If you do want to do that kind of mechanic in a quest, please just change cosmetically. Instead of making them crests, make them books, make them something else. It would help a little bit just in terms of feel for them to just cosmetically be different. Because it does feel more copy and pasty when it's just crests every single time. Like, make them books, make them coins, make them whatever. Artifact, I don't know, whatever. Just change it up a little bit in terms of presentation.
I don't know if they had different people working on the quests and they all just came to the conclusion that they wanted to do a crest quest. It just feels like there should have been some thought there, like, hey, we have a lot of crest quests in this expansion.
I was hoping it was going to be a lore reason, to be honest with you. I'd be curious if there was a lore reason behind it.
I don't think there is.
I think it boils down to a functionality reason. What are the ways they keep a door locked or us out of something? They put up a wall, a barrier that goes down when we kill something or when we place crests in something. If they do it any other way, we go, well, wait a minute, why can't I pick that? Why can't I knock that? There's no good reason for that. And even half the time when we kill a monster and then the wall goes away or the door comes unlocked, there's probably no good reason for that either. All of us have played some sort of tabletop role-playing game and gone, well, this doesn't make sense. There's so many ways around this. But from a programming standpoint, I think it just boils down to functionality. It's the easiest way for them to stop us from doing something until we've done this other thing first. And they did it a lot this time.
Well, but a lot of the
times,
the
way they wanted the quest design.
A lot of times it's not just that. It's like, go left, get a crest, go right, get a crest, so you can go straight and use the crest. Like, stuff like that is more where I take issue. But no, Dilemma, I get it with what you're saying, because it does come down to a functionality standpoint of they need to keep the door closed, and I get it.
Well, we
I
got
wouldn't
two
be
optional
opposed
quests
to
in
a
there.
puzzle. Yeah, a puzzle.
Yeah, there's like
unlock
crests
the door.
within crests within crests.
Well, and that's the thing. There's other ways to do it. Like, one of the things that killed me is they made a cool new puzzle type, the statue puzzles, and they only used it in one quest. Yet they had tile puzzles in, 6 quests, and they had crests in, half a dozen quests. Like they
I
could have,
suggest
Yeah.
more mastermind puzzles. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
like give us a stat instead of a crest. Like maybe we have a statue puzzle to open the door. Like they could have done better mixing it up. Is all
Well,
I'm saying.
honestly, the thing that bugs me the most is like these crests have been sitting there for thousands of years, and no one's walked in, picked them up, and plundered the place yet. Like, at least have monsters holding the crests that drop the crests when they
Like
die.
the one skeleton.
Oh, or like a rust monster that couldn't digest the crest because of the
Yeah.
magic. So we have to kill the rust monster to get it. Come on, get it going.
Yep.
And
Well-
that's how they could, kind of force you to do some things. Like, okay, you can't progress, so you kill this monster. They don't need to
And-
lock you in a room with it or whatever.
Why did we never find a crest in a pile of bear poop? That's what I want to know.
That's a WoW quest. Sorry.
Well, anyone
I'm
have
glad Didier doesn't have poop quests.
any other comments on the safe hole before we move to the next one?
Nah,
Music was
pretty
still pretty
basic.
good. I still like the voice act.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the quest. I don't mind the crests. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
mind it. It's
I
just
enjoyed a lot of the
a
optionals,
little
too.
overused.
The Naga looks good. The optional boss.
Mhm.
It has I think it has a different skin than the rest.
Okay,
The
so
only thing
go
oh,
ahead.
go
Go ahead.
about the only thing that bothered me as a completionist is having to backtrack to figure out where the optionals and stuff are.
Just the door. Just the door.
Okay, the next quest is Death Hosts This Banquet. So you go look for the icon of the dwarves. You're looking for another missing drow. So this is another crest type quest. You need to find 2 crests to open your way to the end. There's a room in this quest where you have reverse gravity, where you kind of need to float up and access different different levels of the map, which is pretty cool. There is also a big optional area where you deal with a lot of traps and a lot of locked doors. So what do you guys think about this one?
Well, let's talk about the 2 bugs first, because this
Yeah.
really ruined the quest for me.
True.
The map vanishing,
Yes. Yeah.
and I won't call the door a bug, I guess. It was just very unintuitive that you needed to talk to a door.
Yeah, and Cordovan did mention that on his podcast
Yeah.
yesterday. They're doing something to change that to make it. I think they're changing the DM text a little bit and doing something else to point you more towards the door, because you do have to talk to the door. So that's not good. And then they have the overall bug, which they'll fix eventually. Hopefully they fix it next week. But yeah, the maps will refresh. You won't have your map cleared. They'll
There's also
Yep.
the other bug of the reverse gravity doesn't go
All
away.
permanent. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually really glorious, because the first time I ran it, I was running with a friend, and we'd never completed the quest because but we were trying to, like, oh, how good we get this off? Okay, let's recall out of the quest.
Yep. And
Whoops,
it's still.
and so I took the opportunity to go visit the treetops and see how far. I wanted to see how far I could float up before the game realized that, whatever. And he's like, "You better not do that. You might get. What if you get stuck up there?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, all right." And so the only way to fix that is to actually log completely out of the client and log back in.
Yeah, well, that's a DDO bug because it can't happen in other quests like the
TOE.
Mirror quest and anything that has anti-gravity. If you lock out or get out before leaving that area, then it'll stuck on you.
Yep.
There's a lot of effect like this that can actually get stuck on you if you leave a different way than you should.
But it was actually really cool. When I logged back in, I was still in the roof of the toward the top of the wilderness. So I just started feather
Yeah,
falling
sounds-
down. So I took the opportunity to look at things going down too. It was great.
The very disruptive way you can abuse this, I'm not gonna say how, but you can get the immune to lightning in riding the storm out a certain way. So yeah.
That's no fun.
Yeah, so I think the anti-gravity part is probably, probably the closest you get to in the whole expansion in terms of platforming. I mean, it's not really platforming, it's a little bit, but there's no other platforming which makes me sad. I like platforming. I know it's not popular opinion, but I like platforming in DDO, so I would have liked to see more of that.
It was nice. I mean, when it worked well, it was fine. It was great. Going to the one platform where you got the undead at the end, or you get the one where you get the shrine, then you get the door, and so it was fine. And going, left to right, and then whatever. So as a segment, it was fine. As long as it works fine, it's great.
What's platforming?
Like jumping Mario, Super Mario.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I was surprised they did have unlimited spawns in the main room.
Yeah, I didn't realize that at first. So I was like,
Oh, yeah,
more bad guys. Okay, I have to shoot some more.
Yeah, I thought they had stopped doing that in quests, but I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. In theory, if you run the quest efficiently, you're only there a couple of times. But
yeah, and they did that as well in the next quest, which we can go to now. Unless do you all have more you want to say on?
I have one more thing to
Yeah,
say.
go ahead.
The trap part, it's kind of like if you can't unlock things, then you go there for no reason.
yeah.
Yeah, I ran it on a favorite soul inquisitive who needs better gear, or maybe I just need to redo my traits. She's on heroics, and she was not able to find a single one of the trap boxes. But because she's favorite soul, I just kept hitting close wounds as the SLA, and managed to get through and unlock everything. So I can unlock things, I just can't detect a trap to save my life.
And it's a big section, and you can't do any of it if you don't have a trapper in your party.
Yeah, it's if you don't have a trapper, you're done.
Yeah,
You can always buy those bells.
which honestly, I'm kind of okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of okay with that. I'm fine with that personally.
Yeah,
So
it's an optional.
I did that with Frogo, with Greater Heroism, and he was able to unlock all the doors. Didn't find a single trap. I just ran through those.
Yeah, I did too. And as a favorite soul inquisitive, which is really weird. But yeah, I just use closed wounds to save my bacon.
Would that be worth it, doing all those traps? And what are the benefits of doing that section?
Well, there's locked chests, basically, extra chests. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't remember how many were there. Was like one per floor. There's like 3 floors.
There was two of them, if I remember correctly. And you
At
get a bit
least
of
two.
optional XP.
Yeah, you get the optional. You get the extra
And
XP
of course,
too from
your
just doing the
bonus for
traps.
trapping.
Yeah, if you can find and disable the traps, you get that XP. I did not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is
Yeah,
it?
I found Frogo couldn't do a single trap in all the quests, but he could open all the chests.
Oh, really?
That makes sense. Frogo
You mean
typically...
heroic?
In Heroic,
Yeah,
yes.
I assume you mean heroic. Yeah, because I used him for the legendary Frogger for these, and yeah, it's no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, heroic, because
Frogger.
what is he, a level 3 or?
Yeah,
higher,
he's
I think?
level 3.
Yeah, so these are 13 quests. So yeah.
Yeah, he falls off around level 8 and 9.
You can go further than that.
If you buff him.
The druid
Yeah,
pass
well,
life and...
if you do, but as a new person, I don't have all that happiness.
I've gotten to do 14 quest stuff with a bard buff.
Yeah.
So are those chests worth it, or the XP worth it?
Not really.
Okay.
But the chests what did they have a chance for? I guess the weapons, Fallen Age.
Yeah,
Numbers
every chest
cards.
has a chance for the Fallen Age stuff.
I don't think you can
I've
get.
not seen any
augments.
Fallen Age in optional chests
Can
myself.
You can't get augments from the side chest, can you? You guys know?
Filigrees.
I don't think so. Just you can get
I think
You
filigrees,
get filigrees and sentient.
but no sun moon augments, right? And no
Not that
name
I'm
blues.
aware
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
It would be nice if in this side chest there was a chance for just a random augment of any type. Maybe a small
Yeah.
chance. Maybe a
That would
small
be
chance.
nice.
Yeah.
Have a
I
side
think
chance
you're right.
augment that increases your drop chance by 5% or something.
Well, I guess technically you have all the
Just
same
like-
augments that exist everywhere. You know, I've gotten a Sonic 45 augment out of one.
True. Yeah, I just meant the sun moon.
Sonic Resist 45 or something, but not a Sun Moon. No.
Yeah. Okay, well, next quest number 3 is Ogma's Song. So in this one, there's a drow bard, Zaliria, I think it is. So you're trying to find her in the icon of the humans. So this is a quest with 7 different puzzles. So there's 3 of the new statue puzzles, 2 tile puzzles, and 2 memory puzzles, and you only have to do 4 of the 7 to finish the quest, and doing all 7 is optional. Another big feature of this one is there's a lot of flavor text regarding musical modes. So the whole theme of the quest is music. And for anyone who doesn't know, like musical modes are basically a type of scale in music theory, but you don't have to know any music theory to do this quest. It's just more of just flavor text, but it's kind of cool to read. The statue puzzle we talked about before, but for anyone who doesn't know what they are, it's basically you'll see a statue, it'll have a hand that's pointing, and you have to kind of judge where it's pointing, and you have to click on the statues when they're surrounding in kind of a circle. You have to click on them in the order that the statues are pointing. So one might point you towards the northwest, and you click on the one in the northwest, and that one might be pointing towards the one right next to it, so you click on that one. But so it's more of I guess the hardest thing about the puzzles is knowing what direction she's pointing, because sometimes it's a little ambiguous. So what I've been doing, which helps, is face the statue and then walk backwards from the direction she's pointing. That seems to help me, but even then it's still a little ambiguous sometimes as to where she's pointing. But I'm okay with that though, because if you don't get it right, you just start over and it's fine.
Yeah, it's very simple.
I just randomly. I didn't know there was an order. I just went, okay, this one. This one didn't work, so I just went
hard
all
way.
over and tried all
Methodical.
Gotta go fast.
So-
Can't read text.
I have to thank Alex for Axel from basically making me. I wasn't ready to rage quit. I was getting pretty frustrated with this thing because I thought it was on a timer that you had to click all 7 in a certain amount of time, or all 6 or however many, and then the problem is, like, if you do one path of the quest, you'll get that piece of paper that gives you the clue on how to do the statue thing. I did not go that way, so I had no bleeping idea what I was doing. And then Axel saved my bacon, and then life was good. It's great. But when I was doing trying to figure out where they were pointing, was I the only person who was thinking of that scene in Men in Black 2 where Will Smith is going through these gyrations to figure out where the thing was, and then Tommy Lee Jones is going over there like, yep, here it is. But that's kind of how I felt about it. But overall, one of the things I really love about this quest is the discussion of the music. Even though you don't need to know music, you don't have to necessarily listen to something. There is an audio application. There is audio clues, but it's also accessible enough for folks who may be hard of hearing or deaf. It's really cool. And I also like it anytime they really lean into the fact that we have an actual world-class composer at Standing Stone Games by the name of Mr. Bill Champagne, who has been doing the soundtracks for DDO since Sharn. Like, he tag teamed that with Matt Harwood. But we've had him over on the Lotro side since the Mordor expansion in 2017, when he tag teamed with Chance Thomas. And he's been composing for both games ever since. And one thing I like to tell Lotro players, like, y'all need to start playing DDO because we get the fun stuff. Lotro has a specific sound to it. DDO gets to do some fun things with it. Like, Vecna was basically a Final Fantasy JRPG soundtrack because Bill loves playing those. And I think being able to leverage that fact that they have somebody in-house who does all that, that's just been amazing. And I've been very happy to see them rely on his other talents.
And I know
he also beats the head of QA.
DDOcast back years ago did an interview with Bill Champagne. If you all want to go give that a listen and hear a little bit more about how DDO's music is made. I wish I knew what episode number that was of DDOcast, but you can probably find it by just going to YouTube, typing in DDOcast Bill Champagne. You'll probably find it.
Yeah, I've also interviewed him. I actually was the first person to ever interview him because nobody knew who he was back then.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you guys want to say about the quest? Go ahead.
Yeah. I will say thematically, especially lore-wise, this quest is super awesome. They really took a theme and went with it here. I really enjoyed that. There was, as people mentioned, depending on how you go, you may not find what you need to solve some of the puzzles, right? Until you find the Karsus Folly song, you can't open some of the doors to get some of the stuff, for instance.
Yeah, so you got to find little notes that let you make it, that open up a possible selection on the plaques that you click on to get you into the rooms you need to get to.
Yeah, so you may not find all 7 puzzles before you get the 4, or be able to even do the 7.
Oh, Sarge, thank you in chat. He said the episode of DDOcast with Bill Champagne is episode 621. So if you want to check that out, there's where you can give it a listen.
There's a bug right now, but I hope they fix it because I didn't know I was a bug. I just clicked the thing multiple times and it actually completed the option also.
Yeah, there is a bug right now. I don't. So when I ran this quest, I got through 6 of the puzzles. I was trying to do all 7, and I couldn't get the quest to recognize the 7th, so I had to unsolve one of the tile puzzles and then resolve it, and then the 7th one clicked. So it counted one of the puzzles twice towards the completion. So
there's a few bugs in there they need to fix.
They need to fix some of the bugs. Yeah, it's not recognizing completion of the puzzles properly. So hopefully they get that fixed.
Can I say 2 things real quick? Oh, sorry.
Of course.
Were you
No,
ready?
go ahead.
For it. Mine's going to be longer.
Sorry. See that? Oh, sorry. Uh, I this is probably the dumbest thing ever, but I couldn't tell which finger was pointing. It felt like it was more the thumb that was pointing more the direction that like that would unlock the thing instead of the actual pointer finger. And so I was like, wait, am I taking crazy pills?
No,
Is
you're
she
not.
pointing?
You're not wrong.
Yeah, it was kind of a little bit. It was kind of funny. It was fun that it was something new. I still
No,
liked it.
a lot of people, Cozy, struggle with that, and it's really ambiguous. But from the camera angle, if your character's back is to the statue, it's really difficult. Like I was saying before, what helps, try to line your character up with her finger and then walk backwards. That's the best way. But even then, it's still ambiguous sometimes. So you're gonna guess wrong and have to, through process of elimination, get the right answers. But it's not a big deal. If it's wrong, you just start over. No problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I found the best success if you go with the way the statue is facing. Don't follow the hand, follow the face. And that seemed to have solved it for me personally. So
Okay.
that would be the advice I'd give.
Maybe I'll try that next time.
You'll notice the statues all have some sort of a headpiece, almost like a winged crown at the top that comes the way they're facing. So I play in driving mode a lot, and I just angled my camera, the circle of my camera directly through that, and it points directly to the next statue. You just walk forward.
But
also.
Sorry, go ahead, Cozy.
Sorry. I felt like the lady was sarcastic every time. I was like, yeah, you found part of the song that opened the door. And you're like, this is all a trap. And she's being sarcastic. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, what's the line? You found the right thing in the right order. Something like that. Yeah, how was she
Sounded like
say?
she was saying, you kind of played that music, right?
Yeah, I felt like I
Kind
was
of an
being
idiot,
patted
but
on the
not
head.
really.
I felt like somebody was patting me on the head.
I didn't get those lines when I went through it my first time, and I suspect it's because I have a little bit of perform in my character.
Yeah, in theory, I think she said the other day on the forums that there's different responses depending on how your perform was.
I heard that too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, this is actually Convalaria's one of her first quests, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought she did a great job with it. There's a lot of little details in this quest, and visually it looks awesome. And even to it with the audio, I have to run it again to confirm, but I felt like this on my first playthrough, where like, you know, the story is basically the house for the god is like really sad because nobody's playing music in the house, and as you play the notes, the music gets slightly more upbeat, and I'm not sure if that's actually what happened, but that's the way I felt like it happened, and I'm like, that's just one of those nice little touch details that I love to see.
Interesting. Well, anything else on this quest, guys, before we move on to the next one? Okay, well, quest 4 is called the Key to the Mythal. It's the last quest in the first chain. So basically in this quest, you've been told that you can retrieve the Key of the Mythal by using the 3 icons. So you found the 3 icons in the first few quests, the icon of the humans, the dwarves, and the elves, and you use that in the tower. So it's a fairly large, kind of lever-focused quest. And the one thing I noted about this, which I thought was really cool, is they took the Reaver's Fate Mastermind puzzle, and they put it into another quest for the first time ever. So that puzzle has been exclusive to Reaver's Fate Raid, but now it's in a quest. And I think that's a really good idea, because the problem with it being in Reaver's Fate, and I think it's a really cool puzzle, but you almost can't do it as intended. You're kind of forced to use the solver unless you're amazing at it, because you just don't have time, because it's a timed raid. So it's cool that they finally put it in a quest so you can take your time and actually work your way through it if you want to without a solver. So yeah, I thought that was cool. There's a big cutscene at the end with the Red Wizards and their leader, and that's the leader you end up fighting in the finale. What do you all think about this one?
I like cutscenes.
Yeah, me too.
I'm fine with it.
I like that.
I know some people don't, you know, they like, oh, my XP per minute, my XP pot.
Well, I think
I
if
don't mind it.
there's a way to cancel the cutscene to move forward, you know, like if you get a cutscene in WoW, you just hit the escape key and ask you, do you want to cancel the cinematic, and then Taryn Gregory cries. But, you know, if there's something like that, I don't mind it.
I don't mind the cutscene. I mind the stupidity of the enemy. Muhahaha! I have got the item from you, but I'm going to let you live while you're stuck and unable to move, where I could just kill you instantly. but I am going to let you live to foil my plans later. I just,
So-
I didn't like that part.
And I
That's
was
like every movie, though.
Right, and this
Yeah,
is why I
it's-
didn't like it.
Right?
I don't mind a bit of cheese in my DDO.
I would
Bit of
prefer a
cheese.
different ending. Like, oh, something, like, well, the temple, they set it up where like part of the temple has been falling the entire time, or like you have a cave-in that prevents him from getting to you, or whatever, right? Like,
But
No,
there
I
you
think
go.
you need to go with your idea. Every time you play that quest, the party gets wiped. You get it, yeah, and you wake up resurrected outside the quest by somebody from the mythol, from the city, and they're like, "Oh man, we could have never seen that happening. That's more powerful than we thought. Good luck with the next chain."
Yeah, and when you're looking at this cutscene, you get time stopped. Now, I was confused.
Yep.
What time stops you? Was that the Red Wizards and their device, or was that the
no,
key to
it's
the
the
mythol?
device. So it's the quote-unquote key to the mythal that you
Okay,
find out. It's
that's
not the
what-
actual key.
So did they? And this is one thing I didn't understand about the story. Did they? I assume they came in and they took that.
They took
Well,
that
why
because
were
they
they
thought it was
there?
the key to the mythal.
Yeah. Like, why do they show
So-
up?
They're trying to get the control of the mythal, and so they thought
Yeah.
this was the key to the mythal. You find out
Yeah.
later that this is a
Okay.
time stop device.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Well, is there anything else you all want to say on this one?
What did you think about the main big bad Droic?
I thought he looked like one of the aliens from Mars Attack, personally.
I mean, he's a lich, right?
That's like the
Right?
first
He's
thing that
not-
came to mind, but anyway.
He looks weird. I mean, as expected. When
I'm not
your
saying it's
body
bad,
is
it's just
rotting.
the first thing that came to mind. Yeah. I think he looks cool.
I like that he's unique. I like that he's different looking and it's a new look. I like it a lot.
I would prefer it if there'd been earlier quests hinting to the Red Wizards being in there, or some of the NPCs in town mentioned they saw Red Wizards or something, right? Like, not just
There
they
was.
suddenly. Was there? I didn't
Oh,
see
yeah.
that.
Granted, there's so much NPC text out
Yeah.
there, especially for the side people. Like, I can understand you missing it, but
Okay.
it's out there.
Okay, so I missed that part then. Just like, I'd like to have seen a little bit more clues before just suddenly having the Red Wizards there.
Yeah, I just didn't understand how did they all of a sudden get there? Were they following you? Did they
I don't
That's
think
what
that
I
was
was wondering.
explained.
teleport
Yeah.
over? Like,
I forgot. Yeah.
was it
They,
just
like,
a big
portaled in.
coincidence? You just showed up together? Like, why didn't they get there before you to get the key? I don't.
I'm pretty sure they had a tea time, and you just interrupted it.
I guess.
I mean, they
Command
portaled in,
spawn.
but like how they knew when.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
You know.
Why didn't they show up 10 minutes before and just take it, what they thought was the key, before you got? I don't know.
We had to unlock that
Hollywood.
stuff.
We had to unlock
We
it,
had to put in
yeah.
the crests.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, you don't
okay,
think
that
they're
makes
gonna get
sense.
crests and pull
Yeah.
levers?
Yeah, they
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
They
Word
can't get
for it. Come
crests.
on, now. They're red wizards, not adventurers, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on, I guess, to the next one. So next is Chain 2. The first quest in Chain 2, which is the fifth quest. We're going in story order here. Is Secrets of the Red Wizards. This is one of the ones I ran on Lamania. It's got a huge map, which this one for me is the one that suffers the most from the map bug, because it can really be difficult to tell where you're going, because there's a huge map. There's a lot of different layers to it. But basically in this quest, you need to find books to learn the Red Wizard's plans. A lot of optional areas. There's a whole roof area that is optional. This one, I found this one's really easy if you run it the first time. It's really easy to find yourself running around for a half hour trying to figure out what you missed, because there's books you need to click on tables, and it's really easy to run past one. But overall, I thought the quest was fine. What do you all think?
This is the one that confused me first. Running this quest, the path that we took us down and around to the final fight way before we knew what was going on. And we did the final fight, and we looted a chest, and then we had to go around and run the quest. And that is a bad feeling. It feels bad to fight the final fight, loot the final chest, and then you're either like, you don't know this is the final fight, and that was way too difficult. If every fight in here is going to be like that, that's going to be tough. Or you're like, no, I got named loot from this chest. This is the final chest. What just happened? There was a whole cutscene I listened to when I got through this gate. We did all that, and then we spent 30 minutes trying to get completed up on the chart there, and it took a while. That it was not fun the first time through. It was frustrating for me. One of my guildies took to it immediately, knew exactly what was going on, and led us through like he had been there 10 times before. And I still to this day think he's insane. But the fact of the matter is, he clicked with it immediately, as he clicked with the time traveling quest. I did not. Now, I just ran this quest an hour before getting on here, and it's my 6th time through, and I got lost again. But I was adventuring through trying to find how to do it in order not to see the final fight first. Because I know now how to get through the quest, but I'm going to see that final fight very early in the quest, and I know that pathing. But I want to see it the way they intended me to see it, I assume, to adventure through more of the quest and get to the final fight near the end. But that doesn't seem quite reasonable.
Yeah,
the
I
way
don't
the
think they
quest is laid out.
intended. I think this was kind of a you find your own way through.
There's really only 2 paths to go around, depending on whether you go under or you go over. And what it boils down to is, if you choose to go under, because it's the first path that presents itself, essentially, you're going to get to the final fight really quickly. And then you're going to spend 10 minutes finishing the quest after you have done that. And I don't like that. I don't like the way that feels at all. I don't like that. So I'm trying to figure out how to run the quest the other way, but I haven't learned it yet.
Yeah, I think there's a couple other ways too, like because there's the secret doors that can lead you up to the top very quickly.
Well,
so
yeah,
it's interesting. Go ahead.
One thing for anyone who gets confused, and I was confused for my first several runs, but once you learn that the roof part is completely optional and you don't need to go there, that really narrows down the map. That really helped me out. But,
I think this is the first quest I really ran into where the power creep on the enemies bothered me. There's some fights in there that are like 100% more deadly than anything in Sharn multiple levels later. For instance, where the enemies do a lot more damage, they'll have a lot more hit points.
Yeah, in the infight, and this mechanic exists in other quests too, but the Red Wizards have some kind of like DR on the main guy until you kill. I don't wholly understand how it works, but he has some kind of DR until you kill the side guys. So it's kind of the same mechanic we saw in like Pilgrim's Peril. It's similar, sort of, where you got to kill other guys before you kill the main guy. So kill order matters a little bit.
It's the Bone Guard.
Yeah, it's the Bone Guard.
The Bone Guard gives a DR to...
Yeah, so if you just run up to the main guy and try to kill him first, you're going to see low numbers. You need to go kill the Guardian first.
But I like the skulls and their evil dots, for instance.
For me, it's the Doom Sphere that keeps hitting you with con damage. I hate it.
Yeah, walking into that room and being locked in with an undead beholder in a very small room was so annoying on a sorcerer.
I don't know if it's a bug, but I don't know why the Doomsphere casts con damage like they do on Elite and Reaper above.
Yeah.
And apparently those skulls can drain you and use and revive and give energy to the Red Wizards, apparently.
That's why they're draining skulls, and I kill them first.
Yeah. So when you realize the kill order, that helps too. That was a learning moment for me.
Well, anything else in this quest? The only other thing I would mention, there's a small room locked by a crest, which I finally, I think last playthrough I went and got the crest and did that room.
I will say the trap room is really overkill.
Yeah, you've got all the crests, the traps you run through on the floor, they explode. You can kind of jump. I think there's some bookshelves you can jump on.
Yeah, you can get around them, but as far as like, all right, we want to put a trapping bonus in. Let's put 70 traps in one area for you to go disable or whatever.
Yeah, that's not going to be worth your time.
No, but I have the option I enjoyed running through the minefield. So
Yeah, I've run through it in my face each time.
Yeah, I jumped around
Yeah.
once
My
I
The
discovered.
damage is not too bad. It's significant, but if you have a decent amount of HP, you should be okay.
You
Yeah,
just
it's
gonna
send
be
your
the-
tank through. That's what you do. You just send your tank through. He plays. He gets to do traps for once. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
yeah, I'll
My
take it.
friends tried to get down in there, and I said no, and I ran right next to them and blew it up. Taught them a lesson. Now you stay back. It's my time to shine.
Yeah, this is the place where someone gets you killed on hardcore.
Probably.
All right. Well, I guess we can move on to the next quest, which is the House of Gems. So quest number 6, quest 2 in chain 2. So in this one, you're looking for the liches, the main bad guys, phylactery. Not a lot here. I mean, to say really, there's levers to pull. There's a little underwater section. There's a water weird fight. I think this is the only point in a quest where you fight a water weird. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
The main guy at the end's a Naga. Is there anything you guys want to say about this one that comes to mind? I think, is this
I
the
got
one I
stuck in
think
the
also
lava.
with the optional where you can fall through and to the acid and do a tile puzzle?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say the water
boy,
weird gave
is
me a
it.
nice jump scare.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I felt I got to test that out and find that out my very first time, and yeah, I jump scared too. I think it was
I got
really
lost.
fun though.
I tried to find the last lever. I couldn't find it for my life, and then it was in the restaurant room.
Okay, well, is there anything else? It sounds like y'all don't have too much to say on this one. I don't really have a lot to say either on this one. It's
They're
not.
pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
The worst part of that quest, if you're a wild mage and get the giant form when you're trying to go up and down those platforms, is the camera.
Hmm. Yeah, I've had to
spent
deal
a
with
lot
that.
of time.
I just started playing a bear druid, and there can be a lot of camera problems because they're so huge.
I spent so much time trying to unlock one door and to just realize it's just the other side of where I was already.
The Vault Lord Horgolf Malachite looks really cool.
All right, well, I guess let's move on to the next one, which there's more to say for sure. The next one is called Voices of the Dead. This one's interesting. You have you walk into the quest, and it's focused on this logic puzzle is the whole focus of the quest, but it is optional, so you don't have to do it. But basically, you walk into the quest, and you see 4 graves of 4 dead wizards, and what you're trying to do is for each one, there's 4 graves, each representing each of the 4 wizards. For each one, you're trying to figure out each of their grave locations, their profession, and the order in which they died. And basically, it's a logic puzzle. To solve it, you read the clues on each grave, and you have to kind of deduce your way as to who did what. And the clues are not super straightforward. They're intentionally in riddles because it's a puzzle. So if you want to try to do this puzzle, what you really should do, I think it's the best way to do it, is in Excel, make 3 4x3 tables and then kind of cross them out until you work backwards to what is the correct one. But I will say it's hard. It's not easy. So if you don't get it,
It's also a bug.
Yeah.
there are certain iterations where it's bugged, I believe. I haven't ran into that. But
I
isn't
did.
the bug just the location of the wizard? Or does it make the puzzle unsolvable? Because
No, I was able to solve the puzzle. The thing is, I went through the logic and figured out where everything was. But then when I got into the room to actually tap on each one, they had 2 of the names switched out.
yeah,
But it still solved the optional. But the logic was, the puzzle said
Yeah.
X wizard is in Y place, and when I went to Y place, it was somebody else.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So they probably need to just fix
Some of the
that.
hints are
But
wrong.
that doesn't
Yeah.
affect. It shouldn't
Yeah.
affect you actually doing the puzzle and
No, I
completing
actually
it.
other than the fact that the wrong names were on the plates, it worked perfectly
Yeah,
fine.
but for anyone who doesn't want to do this, you don't have to. You can ignore it and go through the door. But if you do the optional puzzle, you get an extra in chest and a little bit of XP, which is not a lot. I think it's around 10, 11K in Legendary, and Heroics it's about 1,700, something like
You also
that.
get less enemies to fight.
Okay. Didn't
Yeah,
realize
that's what
that.
solving the puzzle does for you. Pretty cool. Honestly,
Well,
this
what you
is
do is you
probably
solve
my
the puzzle
favorite
and
quest.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
solve
and
the puzzle, and then you go to each of the wrong rooms anyway. That way you can get all the baddies.
Oh, and it is randomized every time, so you can't just memorize the solutions and then repeat that every run.
Yep.
It is randomized. Same with like the mastermind puzzle. You know, it's randomized every time. So you actually
Well, there's
have to
probably
do
only
it.
a few
There's-
iterations of
yeah.
the puzzle. So like,
Probably.
if you memorize the 4 iterations
Okay.
that it comes in, you'll be fine.
That might be the case. I'm not sure if that's the
Yeah.
case or not, and how many iterations there are. There could be 4. There could be, you know, a dozen. I don't know.
I think she talked about it on the forums
Yeah,
and
she did.
the
But there's-
numbers, and I don't remember.
Oh, really?
It was
Okay.
4.
Oh, it's 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 4.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the
someone will
wiki
probably
has
shortly in
something
the
up for
wiki
solving it.
will
Yeah,
say
you'll
if you
get
pull,
one hint that tells you.
it'll tell you. Yeah. So probably it'll be easily solvable here pretty soon.
I feel like this was Baldur's Gate 3 inspired with the Speak with Dead.
Yes.
I would love to see them do more with Speak with Dead in the future. Just even if it's just they give you no information, right? But be able to use Speak with Dead and talk to dead NPCs would be cool.
It also reminded me of the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
enjoyable.
Yeah, I love the groundskeeper character. I thought she was hilarious.
Yes.
I enjoyed the puzzle. I enjoyed the reward for the puzzle. I think this might have been my favorite quest of the expansion so far.
Voice acting was awesome.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't
What,
if you haven't done it, anyone's watching, you know, one time go in there solo, see if you can figure out the puzzle. I mean, obviously when you do your standard pug runs, no one's going to do the puzzle, but until there's a solver that tells you exactly what to do. But you know, it's fun to try it once. I tried it once. I got it wrong, but someone in Twitch chat corrected me. And
can you give us the tip again that you gave us?
well, I think the best way to do this type of puzzle is if you want to do it, you know, without just looking up the solution in the wiki whenever it gets there, because it probably will get there. I think it's good to make 4 4x3 or 3 4x3 tables. You know, one on the left you have the names of the 4 wizards, and on the top of the 4x3 you have the one table is profession, one is order of death, and one is location. And as you get the clues, it might say, one of the clues might say, might point you towards this person being either this profession or this profession. Like they'll either be the ritualist or the what's one of the other, a healer.
Alchemist,
Yeah,
healer, and the mythol.
So if he tells you he's these 2 guys are either the ritualists or the healers, for those 2 names you can cross off the other 2 professions. So there are clues like that you can fill in the tables as you walk through to kind of deduce your way to what the answer is.
It's like playing Clue.
Yeah, I love that. So names
was
of
a-
wizards. Sorry.
Or you can do a big grid. Yeah, there's different ways. But basically make a table and to work out the clues and then cross them out and work your way backwards. Any other thoughts on this one before we move on?
On the wiki, there's already somebody linked to a logic solver for this. So.
Is there? Okay. Or if you just want the chest and the XP, there you go. You can not use your brain.
You still have to enter the info. But...
Yeah. You still got to enter the info at the end, but yeah, it'll probably tell you. Kind of like the it kind of reminds me of the one in DQ1, where you probably once you get one section of the riddle, you can just look it up and it'll tell you what the solutions are. So.
Did you guys say you enjoyed this logic puzzle and the mastermind?
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Yeah.
I like all the puzzles. I don't care what form they're coming.
I
like
didn't
them.
really have time to look at the puzzle. I didn't do the quest. I just joined with a bunch of guildies, and we were running our town, and we just blasted through the whole thing.
Well, it's one thing I would praise them for in this one, because I've criticized them a lot in previous expansions of not doing enough puzzles. And this one, they finally did do a lot of different puzzles, brand new ones. Now they still did too many. You know, they still did their copy paste tile puzzles, but they still did a lot of. They did the new statue puzzles. They did the logic puzzles. You know, they even introduced the mastermind puzzle, which is a reuse, but it feels fresh because it's only been in the raid, and a lot of people probably haven't run that, or if they have run Reaver's Fate, they've never done the puzzle before because only one person can really do that in a raid run. So. A lot of fresh puzzle stuff in this expansion for sure. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to the next quest, which is everyone's favorite, Times Long Past. So in this quest, you go to the ruins of Myth Drannor to find the entrance to the Temple of Labelis. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And you look for the key to the Mythal. So this quest, if you've run, it's very similar to Beautiful Nightmares, Inferno of the Damned. What's the other one? Through a Mirror Darkly. So it's like that. There's a light side and the dark side. In this case, you're going forward and backwards in time. So it's a lot of stepping through portals. A lot of people are struggling with this one in comparison to the other quests. I will say for your first run, it's probably the most confusing of the first run. Although honestly, I feel like I got a little. I also got lost in Secrets of the Red Wizards a lot, but this one is probably going to be the most difficult for your first run. But I'm finding that I'm not personally struggling with it much. After the first couple runs, I've really got it down now, and I soloed it this week, and I did a 2 or 3 man, and where I also led it, and I'm not having too many problems now, but it's definitely confusing on your first run or two before you get the hang of what you're doing. So what do you guys think about this one?
Yeah, I found it surprisingly linear for my first time through. But
Yeah.
I do feel bad for the people who are trying to keep up with Zergers trying to go through this quest. They're gonna get lost.
Let me just say, for anyone watching, here's my tip. It's definitely the easiest of all these types of quests through Mirror Darkleaf, Inferno, Beautiful Nightmares. For me, I think this is definitely the easiest of all these in terms of how to get around. But this is the key. If you don't know this, you're going to get lost. When you get a thing, go use that thing. Like when you get a key, a gold key, you're going to go use that gold key immediately. So when you get an iron key, go use the iron key. When you pull a yellow lever, go to the new yellow level area. And the map, you have to use the map because the map has little icons, purple icons on it that tell you where all these things are. It'll say gold key door. So it'll tell you where all the doors are. So you have to use your map. But that's all you got to keep in mind. If you keep that in mind, it's actually fairly linear. So, yeah.
Good advice. Yeah.
Just use the thing when you get the thing, and you'll be fine. Use the map.
It's a little annoying to start, but once you get used to it, it's like every other DDO quest where you pop between worlds.
Yeah.
I like the part by when there's a freaking jeweled key in the toilet.
Oh, yeah. I saw that on your stream yesterday. Yeah, you're like, what's this doing in the toilet?
Yeah, and then there's a roll of paper towels next to the toilet. And then the portal, the rift between time was right next to the toilet. Well, that was hilarious.
Clearly somebody ate the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bear.
Yeah, it was probably the bear.
Yeah.
All right. Well, other than the portal stuff,
the surprise fight at the end is interesting when you walk out into the courtyard.
I was about to get that. Yeah, you go to a courtyard, and there's optionals on the side you can do, but there's also, when you get to the end, you do fight a Fang Dragon as the big boss here, which is pretty cool. I think that might be the first time we see a Fang Dragon in the quests. I think. I'm not sure. I know there's one in the wilderness, but...
I don't remember any other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just depends on if you did the walk-ups first.
There's 3 Fang Dragon fights in the whole expansion.
I think, is this the first one? I might have forgotten one.
It's the only one in the story. The other one's in one of the walk-ups.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's it. And then you have the burning,
the wilderness,
the one that's the NPC for the fire quest.
It's Electrum.
That's not a thing.
That's Electrum.
That's the one electric dragon.
They look so similar.
They really do.
Okay.
Look, you just don't pay attention to faces, okay?
I guess.
One's spiky, one's not as spiky. That's the difference. Both kind of gray.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, if there's nothing else y'all want to say on this one, we can go to the next one, which is...
Sorry,
go ahead.
Go
ahead.
Thing. You were talking about those side optionals with the poor students trying to do a ritual. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was good.
Anyone else on Times Long Past? Thoughts?
Well, that one does also have quite a long cutscene. That's the first time, when I got to it the third time, I was like, hey, they need to do the Ravenloft thing on this. Give me the chance to just blow past this, because this is a long cutscene.
It's a really long quest, too, I will say. Even when you know it, it's still 20 minutes.
Well, you can actually go as soon as the bear opened the door.
You can, yes. You can go pretty quickly. Going quickly is a good way to create that bug where you forget to talk to the bear. If you don't talk to the bear and go fight the dragon, the door is locked and you can't go back in to talk to the bear.
You have to talk to the bear.
Oh, you can get out and fight the dragon without talking to him, because it happened.
You can. I need to. I ran it kind of not the intentional way.
You go, let
I-
gas. You
Door does work.
You
D-door
can-
does work, but it starts you back at the beginning, and then you got to know the quest to get back through.
if you want the end chest, you can run this quest in 4 minutes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh
Well,
yes.
that will probably get fixed.
Dude,
I hope.
Numbers
I hope
guys
If
so.
that's the
here.
case.
No, I'm not telling you how to bug on stream. Sorry.
He's
These
keeping those
guys
secret
just-
to himself.
These guys just
Mhm.
randomly throwing out all these numbers and info and statistics over here, and we're just like, give us more.
I know too much to say.
All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to the next quest, which is the last one in the main story quest before we get to the side quest called Zolkir's Plan. And speaking of bathrooms, there's a lot of bathrooms in this quest. This is another crest-focused quest. So you start the quest, you follow the main guy up to get the first crest, and then there's another series of crests, 2 more that are hidden, and there's a lot of little rooms in the quest, and the other 2 quests will be in one of these rooms, and I believe it is random. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the other 2 are randomly placed in these rooms. So you kind of got to search through a lot of little rooms. There's a couple cool things in this quest. There's a monster with what is an aberration, I'm not sure, with a chest on its back, and when you kill it, it drops the chest right where it dies. So I thought that was a cool touch. But after that, you go to the bottom level, you find a couple more crests, and you get an infight where we finally fight the leader of the Red Wizards. So, any thoughts on this, guys? This quest?
The rate looks good. The experiment too
Yes.
Oh yeah,
looks
yeah.
really good.
Yeah, there's a couple of, I think they're rare optionals that sometimes are there, sometimes are not. Or he might just be in a rare
I think
location. I'm
they're
not sure.
always there.
It
'cause
just
they're
Yeah,
in
the
just
3
optional.
experiments are
Experiment 1, Experiment 2, Experiment
Yeah.
3
They're
is
always
the one
there.
that roams. 1 and 2 randomly spawn in different rooms of the quest.
I
Gotcha.
couldn't find the last crest for my life. The first time I ran it.
It's really easy to overlook because when you go into the little rooms, you have they're in the bathroom. Some of them are located in between the brown divider things, whatever. So they can be in a little nook there. So
It was
it
on
is-
the bed actually.
sometimes they're in the hallway. Sometimes they're in the bathroom, just on the floor. Sometimes they're in the dividers, and that's the one that's tough to see.
I haven't yet done that quest in flower sniffing mode. I've only done it duoing with somebody who either already knew the quest or basically had an idea where they were going. So I was just kind of trailing along and looking in things. So I didn't really get to do my usual what I like to call a close reading of a thing, like because again my Tolkien professor dude likes to go and look at the landscape, look at the architecture, really get a good eyeball at it, and I didn't have the opportunity to do that. So that's going to be my next task in DDO.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Experiment 1 is bugged or not, but he sure does spam Innervation constantly, and since he's a Pal Master, Death Ward doesn't work versus him. I found that a little frustrating. I ended up with like 12 negative levels in 3 seconds. Like,
I'm immune to it, so I didn't.
yeah. If you're
see
not
that.
like if you're a Vistani or something like that, but in Heroics, it's much harder to avoid that in Heroics.
Just spam restoration.
Yeah, if you're one of those classes, but it was like there didn't seem to be a cooldown on his Innervation is more what I was getting at. So it
That's
might be bugged.
excessive.
Yeah, especially when we get to
Yeah,
the.
that's too excessive.
You're talking about the basement, like the last part, because I was getting.
No, I'm talking
No.
in the rooms with
Oh.
One of
Experiment
the
1.
optional experiments you can run into.
'cause
Yeah, like if you're looking for the crest, you've got to walk through the room
Gotcha.
so you find them. And so I was trying to find
Well,
that.
it seems to be that one of the crests is always down the left hallway, one of the quests
Right.
is always down the right hallway, and one of those experiments is probably going to spawn in the middle hallway that connects them.
Well,
mean,
mine
it's
was on
not-
the left side trying to find the crest, so I walked in one of the rooms and he just started unloading Innervation one after the other on me.
Fun stuff.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
Did you tell him that he had some nerve?
I was resin for my life because I was at level 3 trying to get a greater restoration scroll off.
Well, I think we'll get to the side quests now. We got 4 more. So those are it for the story quests. We got the 4 side quests. This really are just one-offs from this. They aren't really connected to the main story, at least not directly. The first one I had listed here was Ettercap Incursion. This is the one. So this is the only quest you access from the public area. All the other quests are in the wilderness area. But this one is kind of I enjoyed the little story on this one because you've got this you got these Ettercaps who are you find out at the end the dragon was eating the Ettercaps, but the Ettercaps to kind of solve that problem, they're capturing elves and feeding them to the dragon to appease the dragon, which is kind of funny. So with this quest, and I know there's some bugs with this one too, which they're going to fix because there's a main cave, and if you don't discover the cave before you click on all the altars, it'll make the quest incompletable. But they should be fixing that pretty soon. But yeah, it's you find a bunch of altars that you need to click on, find the captured elves, which are tied up, and you have a dragon fight at the end. I think is it a fang dragon, I believe, or an
It is
elect?
a fang dragon, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
never
it's
tell the
the other
difference
child
between.
of the one from the wilderness.
Gotcha.
Both the quest fang dragons are spawn of the one from the wilderness, which I think is kind of cool. We're in there just slaying families of dragons.
Yeah.
Well, Fang Dragons have got to go. So
Biased.
Well,
Yes.
this quest is pretty straightforward. Any thoughts on this one?
Run in circle and get to the end.
Yeah.
Like Cozy said in the beginning, this one had the neat little twist of the orcs being in the sacks instead of elves when you first get to the center there. That was the first time I saw it. That was amazing. It was awesome. And I like that little twist. I like that they pop out and immediately start going, "We don't like you," and they attack you
Yeah.
too. No cutscene needed, just orcs. Oh God, gotta die. Good, let's go.
Yep. Yeah, you let one loose and then suddenly all of them get loose, and I'm like, dude, I just let you guys go. Why are you trying to kill me?
I loved that. I was like, you freaking idiots.
Yep.
Yeah, you think you're safe, right? You're like, okay, I can rest, I can relax. I just rescued
Yeah.
them, and then you start to fight. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I
And it
like.
speaks very highly of orc intelligence. You know, we got caught and beat by these things. You came and killed the things that beat us,
Yeah.
and now we're gonna take you out because that's how that works.
I like that the sacks are
Smart.
labeled elves initially.
Yeah, it tricks you.
There's a question mark in there.
Yes.
Did anyone get confused that there was a huge chasm you had to go around to get to to those cocoons? And it's just water.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was a chasm as well because I just
Yeah.
couldn't see. And then when I made my way, that's the only reason I went right because otherwise I'd have went left and bugged the quest, or went straight and bugged
Yeah.
the quest.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell what it was there.
I dashed right over it, so I didn't know if it was water or not, but I knew I could dash it, so I did.
Can I just say, Arconiverse looks like he's getting like a head massage from
From
Arconiverse.
my
He
own
does,
thing.
he
Yeah, I
does.
noticed that the
So
whole time.
does.
Yeah.
Reading your mind.
Or he's
I thought it was like a-
channeling himself.
Or
Yeah, I
he's
was gonna
like,
say it was like electroshock therapy through the brain.
I was gonna say he's like or he's casting a spell to make part of his head invisible. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, let's move on to the next quest, which is side quest is book burning. This is the one in the kind of in the far western area, southwestern area ish. No, maybe just west of the wilderness. But anyways, you have an Electrum dragon that's asked you to enter a burning library in the ruins of Drannor, and you need to defeat some extraplanar creatures that have set the structure ablaze and kind of save the literature that's in there. So this is probably the shortest quest in the expansion, I would say. It's really short. But a lot of fire creatures, obviously, because you're inside a burning residence. And not really much to say. It's pretty much just a straightforward hack and slash quest where you're chasing this Afridi and end up chasing him to the end and killing him. So any thoughts on this one?
Aesthetically, I really like the thick smoke. I
Yeah.
thought that came across really well. And the urgency of the quest was just like, oh my gosh, I gotta find stuff and get out.
I almost wouldn't mind if they added a timer for this one, even though players probably wouldn't like that. But I think it would fit because you have to complete within a certain amount of time or the place burns down and you die and all the books are burned. But it doesn't have a timer.
Yeah, that could add an extra.
Is yelling at us as we run through it.
Yeah, that could have had a little extra challenge and the extra, like, would be part of the plot. I think I like that idea.
And
Storyline.
I really like the last room. It kind of reminded me of a Doom hell level or something. Where you see all the hellscape. That's the first thing that came to mind when I went to the last room there.
It's in the plane of fire. It's where they came from.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder
I
if
did
you
like.
actually.
Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, I almost kind of wonder, like, if you do stand around that quest long enough, like, the dragon will start yelling at you. Like, I'm running out of energy or something. I didn't stay there long enough.
That.
But I wonder
Yeah,
if that's there.
I like the fact that the optional fire giant gives you a chance to get a second chest. If you kill him, you get a chest. If you use a skill, I think it's haggle or diplomacy or I forget what the spellcraft, and you win the chest, you get 2 chests. So we're literally in my guild. We're like, hey, who's got Diplo? Who's got haggle? We want this second chest. There's a chance of a fallen age weapon. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
good.
I noticed the skills seemed it seemed pretty easy to get on heroic, not on legendary, I don't think. But
I can say only that it's pretty high on legendary.
Yeah.
The guy that has a plus 110 Diplo, he gets it every time. But the guy that has a plus 76 Diplo is yet to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the Feywild quest where, it's just such a huge jump where you need like a 120 Diplo to get the guards not to fight.
Well, go ahead, Cozy.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Are you gonna talk about that? The
No, I didn't hear anyone talking, so I was going to go to the next quest. But if you have something to say, go for it.
Okay.
No, go for it.
It was just my one thing I wanted to say about this quest was that I was so excited that I was hoping, but I didn't want to hope because I didn't want to be disappointed. But I was hoping we were going to go in one of those cool looking trees with buildings all around it. That was a really cool aesthetic. So I thought it was cool that we went and did a quest in one of those.
Agreed.
And again, lore-wise, I like that they had the random portals showing up and summoning creatures coming through.
Okay, well, the next one is Seeds of Decay. This is the one we talked about before where the entrance is, it's the only quest where the entrance is a little confusing to get to. You got to go up a hill and around because the entrance is up on a tree. But in this quest, you're going into the Temple of Moander, who's a god of rot and decay. You're finding some seeds, a lot of acid damage in the quest because it makes sense because god of rot and decay and all. I think the one thing that stood out for me about this quest, I think the end boss looks really cool. I didn't really understand from the story if you're summoning the actual god or a false version, because they mentioned in the story you can summon a representation of him and not actually him. I didn't really understand. You guys know which one was it? Was it the actual?
So Moander is dead currently. And so the story of this is they had these seeds that they were trying to power up to bring back Moander. And so there's several notes in the quest that say, hey, do not use these seeds until I give approval, because if you do, they're not fully powered, and we're just going to get like this weak version of something, right? Not necessarily a full Moander.
It said a husk.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we got a husk, didn't we?
We got a husk. I loved the husk.
The husk did look cool.
Yeah. I was really hoping Moander was going to be more involved in this expansion, so I was really excited when I got this quest. Moander's been a big foe of Drannor and elves, just in general. A lot of fighting, a lot of history there.
Could he be involved in the raid, maybe? I don't know if that relates.
Seems unlikely.
Yeah, since he's a dead god in this version, because they're using the 4E version at this point, unlikely.
Okay.
It would also be weird in terms of design to have the big bad overshadowing your raid coming from a side quest and not part of the actual main, thrust of the story.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Well,
I don't know about that.
Anything else on this quest before we move on to the next one? Got one more left.
Something I didn't know, that you can use fireball or fire AoE to remove the puddle, the slime puddle.
That was cool, huh? I found that out
slime.
too.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I just read this.
I didn't know that either. Learned something today.
So
Yeah,
it's just
something they
like
don't talk about with Moander is he's also the god of slimes, and there are some in the quest, but I wish they would have played that up more. We are all just blasting fire on the ground for these green slimes, but they really should have played up his Lord of Slime title more. There were entire sects, like you're talking about lore-wise, entire sects of elves that converted themselves to slime-like beings,
Yep.
and were corrupted by Moander. So it could be very interesting if they played that up more than the rotten decay aspect.
OMG, the next race is going to be another elf, but a slime one, guys. Not kobold, not
Slime elf.
Drannor.
Slime elf. Yeah.
I mean, they've
Booger
already
elf.
gave us the druids that do that, so you know.
Blightcaster Slime Lord.
Yep.
Sounds great.
Yeah, but for this quest, you want to make sure if you're a melee, anyone watching, bring a crystal weapon or something to deal with slimes, or you're going to be in pain. There's a lot of
And-
slimes.
And cure
Crystal,
disease.
yeah, muckbane, something that doesn't break, or bring like 3 or 4 weapons if you don't care if they break, or be a caster or an archer. That works too.
That being said, though, I was impressed by this quest. How much content they were able to squeeze into such a small place. Like it was almost like Death House to me in terms of like compact density of cool stuff. You know, from the symbology to the enemies to the lore drops. It was really cool.
Yeah, for a side quest, it was in my opinion the best one. It's not part of the main storyline, but it feels like it has its own storyline and it's a comprehensive one.
Okay, well, last side quest, Portal to Below. There's one thing that stood out to me for this one. There's a big waterfall at the beginning. There's an underwater swim to an optional area. I think the entrance to this one is called what? The Drow Raiders or Drow Followers or something. There's a portal where you enter, but there's not, other than the waterfall and the underwater swim, which that optional, they need to add more for that because it's a big area and I think all you get at XP. I don't think you even get a chest for that big optional. Because I ran that yesterday and I was like, man, they really need to add at least a chest. But not too much else to say, just hack and slash. But I really hope they add more for that optional because no one's ever going to do that if they don't add at least. Honestly, it should probably be 2 chests because considering how big it is, but at least a chest.
Well, for me, this quest was like I entered and was like, I'm in Mine of Tetimar. That's the overall vibe of this quest. It's just it's mine.
Yeah, I guess other than the water, I don't think there's a lot of water in Mines of Tethymar.
Couple spots.
Is there? Okay. I almost never run that. I ran it a few months ago for the first time in forever.
The big water that I remember is that there's that just before that gate comes down and traps you in with that big fight that often wipes a lot of our 10 parties. Or at least did before we power crept.
I have a suggestion of what you should do to all your friends who are doing that quest for the first time.
What's that?
You should tell them that to go jump in the waterfall and take it, and it takes you up to the next level. Because it kind of has like these layers when it goes down that looks like it like will take you up. So I tried to go up the waterfall for a solid minute and I realized I was getting pranked. A solid minute.
Waterfalls go down, Cozy.
I know, but they looked like they went up, okay?
Cozy, I don't know if you know this or not, but don't go chasing waterfalls to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to.
You
Oh,
either have
man.
it your way or nothing at all, right?
For anyone watching in Twitch, just we're almost to Q&A time, so if there's any questions, and I know some of y'all asked questions earlier, and I'll try to scroll through back in Twitch chat and catch those. But you got any questions or topics you want us to discuss, please post those now. Because I think we're done with the quest, so I think the only other things I had was, we already talked, and I know someone asked about the raid boss. We already talked about that earlier, so this will be uploaded to YouTube, guys, so if you want to check that out later, you can see what we had to say there. But what do you all think, I guess, overall thoughts on Myth Drannor in terms of the expansion? Where would you, as of now, where do you think you would rank it in terms of DDO's expansions in terms of overall quality. I think for me, it's up there. I don't know that it's gonna be bypassing Ravenloft or Motu for me, but it's probably in the 3 or 4. I think it's right there with Isle of Dread in terms of quality for me.
What's Motu?
And a lot of it depends on the
Minnesota,
raid. Is the raid going to be good? Because Isle of Dread had a very good raid. So is this raid going to be good? A lot hinges on that for me. If it's not that great, it's probably going to be 4th on my list. If it's going to be good, might be top 3.
Yeah, I think I'm ranking it lower until we see the raid.
Yeah.
Because I need that special thing that allows me to hook for forever, more than just heroic content. I think that's where so like the farm is not super enjoyable for me right now because I'm trying to chase wilderness rares, and that's a huge damper. But like first time through, it's the best quality. Like aesthetically, graphics wise, song choice, voice acting, it's absolutely some of their best work. It's just that staying power that has me the most concerned at the moment. But we'll see what happens with the raid.
Yeah, art and music definitely 11 out of 10. Like this, this is the Spinal Tap of what they've done so far.
Yeah, best
I don't know if
looking,
I'm gonna-
great looking wilderness area in Quest. Visually, they did a great job, for sure.
Those were some sexy trees. That's all I gotta say about that.
Trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, those trees.
All right, so
Oh.
now we know what Cozy does in her spare time.
Yep.
The dead magic zones, the wild magic zones look beautiful. I mean, they're great.
Yeah, I think overall this is the most fun I've had diving into an expansion since I stepped foot in Barovia. Stepping foot in Ravenloft felt amazing, and stepping foot here felt like a dream come true. It was literally everything I wanted out of a pen and paper campaign brought to life in a digital world. So from that aspect, it's great. From a functional game aspect, like you said, it depends on what they're doing and what they want to use it for. But I think the content is top notch. The art, the zone, the sound, the ideas behind it, the storyline all hit and hit hard. The only complaint I think anybody's going to have is going to be what's the chase on and reusability of the gear that we get from there. Because in the end, this is a game, and we are, grading ourselves based on how effectively we can play that game. And in that curve, it's yet to be seen. But I think that it's on par with IOD as far as longevity, but also longevity of farming that you're going to need to do to get it. Once put it this way, we're going to jump from 30 to 34 now. And once we see what happens and where we go and everybody has a full set in 3 months, are you going to be wearing an IOD set? Probably not. You're going to be wearing a top-notch 33rd, 34th level raid gear kitted, Myth Drannor set. Probably. So I think in that regard, this is really well done. I just don't think everybody's going to want to farm that much. As we're seeing them talk about, that's really the only question of this. Everything else about this is top notch, if not the best that's out there right now, I think. It really boils down to your personal, how much you can withstand farming and not getting that thing. How long are you willing to wait for it? How much are you willing to gear Tetris for it?
Yeah, that's the problem I have with this whole expansion is it feel this is more conspiratorial, I guess. It feels it's driven to make you buy shards or use shards for the gear. Otherwise, you're going to be farming for months upon months to get a single augment from a single chest.
I'm in danger because I don't do money on the game.
Right. And
I don't have,
that's why I'm not even excited about the raid. Like, okay, cool, I get the raid gear. Now I got to spend 4 months farming one particular chest.
It should
To
have
try to
raid
get an
runes, though.
augment.
At least for the raid, it should have raid runes.
Right, but that's not going to give me the augment that I need to put in it.
Yeah, it depends on... Okay, fair. Yeah, because it won't give you the sun moon augment. Yeah,
Right.
you're right.
And so,
Well, And someone mentioned this before about optionals, chests not really having a lot of appeal because they can't drop named loot, they can't drop augments. I would love, like, if they had just named chest have a chance for a random augment, that would be cool. And that would also facilitate people trading on the auction house for stuff. And it would be nice if they weren't so rare that you had to pay, like, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of shards for the augment you want off the
Right.
shard exchange.
That's the only good thing I see about the augments is they're not bound. So it might create an economy, but it's going to be one of those crazy prices with rarity.
Yeah. But like we mentioned before, it is a lot of it is a density issue too, but just with so much stuff being in the chest, kind of like on skeletons, you're never going to pull the actual weapon you want. You're going to have to buy it with runes, but yeah, random something more for the optionals I think would help a lot.
I mean, I find that true for the entire game. I want more reasons to run optional.
The other
I would like to see loot just become more available. If it doesn't have to be named loot, it could just be a collectible or special thing or potions or something. Just give me a reason to run it so that way I can go.
I think they need to make like 3 augments tradable for one of your choice.
Something
that would be cool.
There's
But like we mentioned before, I don't think they're going to do that because they're unbound.
Sure.
Yeah, I would like
Because then you can just buy. Yeah, go ahead, Cozy.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I would like different reasons that have value to do optionals and things to keep things fresh. Because I think more reasons to play different quests and different expansions and stuff, it keeps you from getting burnout and keeps you from getting bored with running the same quests.
Yeah, I like doing the optionals, but yeah, most of the optionals just like throughout the rest of the game are just not even close to being worth it. I mean, especially the one under the waterfall has got to be the worst one. I mean, that's a long optional. You don't even get a chest. It's just like I did the whole thing on heroic, and it's as long as I don't know if it's as long as the quest, but it's at least as long as doing half or 3/4 of the quest, and I got like 1,300 XP. It's like, why would I ever do this again?
Yeah, I would like to see them do something with the Fallen Age weapons on like a upgrade your Fallen Age weapon to a Golden Age weapon, 10-1. You know, I know they're going to let you trade a Fallen Age for a Fallen Age on a 2-1 and a Golden Age for a Golden Age on a 2-1, but because the Golden Age are so rare compared to the Fallen Age, you know, and you're going to be looking for a specific one, it's going to be a long time before you can get the Golden Age weapon. So I would like to see some regard brought to that. You know, maybe the trader does 10-1 trade in Fallen to Golden or something.
Yeah, and even if it's just a random golden, then you could at least get 2 of those and then turn in for a golden of your choice.
20-1 is really what you're doing.
Basically.
You're making it so that it's a 20-1 for the one you want, and you're getting a random chance on a 10-1 to maybe get the one you want. That would be fine. I'm willing to do that. I run the thing a saga at a time. I don't specifically farm a single chest or a single quest most times. I'll just run the saga, and when I get the gear I want, then I'll go do the build I want. And I know not a lot of people play it that way or that open. They usually come up with the build first and then go find the items for it. But everybody has their own way of playing the game, and I think having the availability to work towards that goal over 3 or 4 lives and then get the stuff you need because you have the materials to make it, I think that can appeal to everyone. Whereas just farming something over and over and over again, we all know it gets boring. We all know it costs you to do that, both time, effort, and of course actual money in many cases. I don't think focusing down that path, you don't have to give it to us, but give us a way to work towards it more than just RNG all the time.
Yeah.
Especially when you make the RNG harder to get. 33%, we all accepted that, but 33% then cut down to 5% chance of an upgrade, cut down to 8 possible things within that upgrade that we want. That's a low chance of getting what you need.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the saga list as well. Why not put something on the saga list, Lou? I mean, whether that's your choice of maybe 3 augments or maybe the artifact would make sense because Salt Marsh does that. Put maybe a random artifact on there. I don't know. I mean, some of the loot could go on the saga list. They don't put enough stuff on the saga list. They need more things to compete with XP, in my opinion. It would be nice and they did put cards on there. But I think augments would work.
I think
you can have card and artifact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, overall though, I do love the Sun and Moon augment system. I think this is a great design going forward. If you can get the augments that you want for the system.
Well, any other overall thoughts on Myth Drannor? If not, I'm going to go through chat and just pull
I do
random
have
questions.
one thing.
Yeah, go for it.
So we didn't talk about how there's no random gear level 34. It stops at 32.
Is that related to the Kenneth issues?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're gonna add 34 eventually. Just like they're gonna add Kenneth 34 eventually. It's a little weird that they didn't do it at the onset, which doesn't make anybody happy, but it'll come.
That really should be on the checklist of whenever we raise the level cap, always do this.
Yeah, I was a little surprised because I was actually kind of really looking forward to my level 34 Gem of Many Facets.
Yep,
But
I think that's the big one.
Yep.
Oh, and one other thing I want to say, this is kind of not related, but I know they don't do this anymore. I know it helps them internally to schedule things. I would really love it in the future if they released the expansion with the quest and the raid all on the same day, because that would have been so epic if we could play through the whole thing right when it releases. It would have been so much more hype. I understand they don't, because scheduling, they want to get this done, put it to the side, and then work on the raid. But I would have been totally cool with not having the expansion for another month if it meant we got everything at once, personally.
Yeah, I'm personally on the opposite side. I love the chance of like focus on the quests, give them their time to shine, and then give me the raid for the to end the basic. It makes the expansion more like a 2-week event than it does a. Well, just go to the raid. You're done. Especially when there's no flagging anymore.
That's
right?
fair.
I'd rather not have flagging and then wait 2 weeks than the way it is.
Yeah, we'll never do flagging again. I don't think ever, but. Yeah, I mean, it's just different opinions of what we enjoy, but I would rather have it all at once, but I understand how others would feel differently.
Yeah, I'd take it further than Arcaniverse. Hell, I would have liked the expansion 2 months ago if it had only been the first 4 quests, and then they released the rest of the quests later. I just want more content drops.
I just think of it in terms of hype. Like, it would have just been so hype if everything released at once. But it's a lot for them to handle, so I get it.
But speaking of the raid, I now have a new theory.
Oh,
the
okay.
raid boss. I did not realize the Fang Dragons were the kids of the one in the wilderness. I did not make that connection. So if that's true, then odds are that one in the wilderness also has a parent. And so we could get attacked by a big dragon. Super big dragon, probably.
Yeah.
Another Fang Dragon.
Yeah, it would be a Fang Dragon. It would be something that was previewed and has a storyline that is revenge based. Maybe he makes a deal with the Red Wizards. I don't know.
Ooh.
Sucks to be you, Fang Dragon. Or, well, sucks to be the tank too, losing hit points constantly. But
okay, well, I'm going through questions. So MS11 asked, what type of build do you all think is the most fun to run in Myth Drannor, in your opinion? I would say something very good at killing undead, because there's a lot of undead.
I would say a full raid tank that does no damage and let your team kill everything around you while you keep them alive and raise the ones that are too dumb to stay back.
I would say Chaos or a Wild Mage or Chaos Mancer, but the Wild Magic Zones really aren't that intrusive. To the point where I feel like it would give you that much of an advantage or disadvantage if you're not that. So I don't know. I'll have to think more.
I don't know. I think any kind of like light, like Cleric Nuker, Favorite Soul Nuker would be good considering the undead. But there's not really any specific mechanic where it's like you got to have this build. It's really just enemy type.
Yeah, there's pretty variety in enemy type.
And there's still variety. Yeah, you still have a lot of fleshy mobs as well. So maybe stuff that can't, like, maybe stay away from Pale Master that can't damage undead. But I mean, just play what you want. I mean, you can get anything to work here.
Yeah. You find fun.
Yep.
Well, right now with fortification running the way it is, if you want to fight that purple worm, you bring a keen weapon because the Vorpal will still crit. Remember, on Vorpal, keen weapons ignore fort. you can still get those 120,000 crits.
Yeah, well, that's a bug. Hopefully they'll fix. Oh, one more bug.
Yeah,
I
that's
meant
going to be fixed on
I
They
need to.
Wednesday.
said it'll be fixed on Wednesday.
I forgot to mention this earlier, but for the quest with the mastermind puzzle in it, you need to make sure you can only do that puzzle if you have post processing effects turned on right now. Because if you have them turned off, and a lot of players run with that off all the time because they don't like the purple and what goes up or whatever because it's bright. But if you have it turned off, just because a lot of people running into that quest and they see the optional and the white orbs will not light up if your post-processing effect is off. So you need to have that on if you want to do that puzzle. But they should hopefully be fixing that. I did point that out to them on the forums. I hope they fix that shortly.
They just need to change those colors to red, yellow, and green. It will just be more of a pop when you're looking at that thing. And we all understand red, yellow, and green versus gray, black, and white.
Yeah, I agree. That would be nice. T3 Draco says it would be good if there's a hint from a random NPC in the public area about the tree locations for Seeds of Decay. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a
I
struggle
have
for
the chalice on the
that was
map.
a struggle.
If it wasn't for the
So-
wiki, I wouldn't have found that quest.
There is
Yeah.
a small hint in the wilderness there that the decay is nearby, but it's very, very hidden. Like all the enemies suddenly become blighted enemies near that area,
Okay.
which sort of fits into Moander kind of rotting out the area. So you'll see a lot of blighted enemies around that portal area.
See, everyone was telling me they were struggling finding it, and I hadn't gotten to that part yet. I was so slow. But because I think the trees are so friggin' sexy, I found the portal. Because I was like, oh, I like bridges and I like these trees. I'm gonna go across this tree. And I just found it. So I was like trying to tell everyone where to go. But if I hadn't have done that, I would also be one of the ones struggling because a lot of people struggled finding that. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
the
like- I
easiest
didn't
way to
realize it was
find
good.
it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Nope, you're good.
Easiest way to find it is go to the down below the and go due west, and it takes you pretty much right to it.
Also, if you go right out the where you go to the lake entrance to go to the wilderness area, you know where the boat is, and you pop out there, and if you go diagonally east towards that cliffside cavern where the dragon is, you're gonna cross over it, the trophy or the door. Like once you get like closer to it, you'll cross over it.
Mystic Dragon. Let's see. They asked. Oh, I just lost it. Okay, here we go. Curious, has anyone tried the iconic Eladrin chest buff? Does it help the drop rate? No, it doesn't, because that's just for random loot. It's not gonna help named loot, unfortunately. Let's see. MS says I'd suggest a mid-north, mid-west, mid-east teleporter. Yeah, we mentioned that comment earlier. If you all have comments, you all that are streaming, Waisakai and Cozy, if you have comments or questions from your Twitch chat, feel free to bring it up.
No, I got nothing.
I'm personally disappointed that there wasn't a big secret or special thing to find.
They
did not include
Sword
what
of
the
Shadows.
expansions.
We need to go check the Sword
Oh,
of
I
Shadows.
mean, but like Cordo said on the Fridays at 4, it's like there's nothing to search for. So if there is something, it's like a little Easter egg, which is, I mean, if there is, I want to find that because that's super cool. But like nothing larger. I thought I've gotten very used to that and very spoiled, very biased, but I still enjoyed those. Hopefully they'll do it for the next one.
Harley says I'd like to see a trainable hireling and Caneth craftable named loot. Yeah, we kind of talked about them updating Caneth crafting for the new loot. Trainable hireling, like one that levels with you. They toss around that idea from time to time. I don't know if they'll ever do that.
if
Oh,
they
we
can
have companion.
have a better AI.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have pets and companions. Like that's fills that role.
And even companion, except like opening a lever.
They do need an overhaul though, from training wise to AI wise. Though
Yeah.
they've gotten better. They've gotten better, but like there's still a lot of room to grow.
I'm right there with Harley. I would love there to be a leadership feat that you take that gets you a hireling that's 2 levels below you, and you get to make a second full character, fully deck them out with Gear Tetris, and have them follow you with only 4 abilities from that character. But that'd be way too much on the game that we're playing.
A level 2 character at the same time. Let's go.
Yeah, we already have a
Well,
problem with character
remember
bloat.
they're 2 levels below you, so whatever you're doing, they're a little bit weaker. But also, we would all abuse that. Everybody would have bard hirelings that multi-class as rogues, so that they could pick and give buffs, stay safe back at the cap, use scrolls to raise, or back at the beginning and use scrolls to raise them, and they would run through with the extra power.
Speaking of hirelings, though, that new hireling is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
good. Yeah, as a healer, yeah.
I
it's pretty
really
good.
like her.
It's got true
She's
sing.
saved my
I
bacon a few times.
think it's got true sing as well, which is
Utilities, fantastic. Going with my
Yes.
army of hirelings and have somebody to raise them for me was
Yep.
so nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have to pull out the stupid Feywild Bard for Raised Dead anymore.
Oh, see, I love the Feywild Muse because sometimes he'll randomly make everything dance. Very handy.
Bring
If
them
you
both.
didn't move the speed of what a slime running over broken glass, right? Like he moves so damn slow through dungeons.
Froggo's still my favorite hireling from the expansions easily. He's a frog in a pimp hat, and he hops around. He's awesome. Best dancer.
Hard to argue with that.
I have to say
I
I
use
like
him
Froggo more than Darling.
I
Darling
use
is
him-
like wet paper towel.
I still use Froggo and not Darling because Froggo's just way cooler. Even if he's 2 levels lower, I don't care.
He's better. His abilities to survive and to actually do his job is better than Darling's.
Yeah.
I used
never-
Darling once just to do the trap in House of Pain, and that's it. That's the only time I use it.
Damn, poor darling.
That's it.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that,
I was just reading other comments. Harley says quest pass. Is there a specific quest you're referring to, Harley? I'm not sure what you're asking exactly. Aggravated says I'm upset there's no reference to Belnorm in Drannor. I'm not sure who that
Yes,
is.
there
Maybe
is.
There's
some of you
one.
lore
Yep.
masters.
Yeah, there is one. You fight one. No.
The Shrinshi
Yeah.
is one.
Yeah,
but
the
they don't
Shrinshi
really
is one.
talk about that much. They didn't make a big deal about it.
Yeah, she says it offhandedly in the quest, and that's about it.
I think Harley's talking about guest pass,
Oh.
where you don't have to buy the expansion, but you can. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do we know if there's one happening?
I never used those. I think there are ones for older expansions. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if are there ones for say like Vecna? I don't even know. Does anybody
They
know?
are like usually really delayed, so I wouldn't
I
expect
can
it. from
I would
anybody.
not. I was gonna say I wouldn't expect them to enter this anytime soon because they want you to buy it. It's
Yeah.
sorry, is what it is.
I wouldn't expect it until the expansion goes in for points anyhow.
Yeah, if it does come, I doubt it'll come before the 6 months when this goes in the store for points.
Oh, I thought it was already in the store for points. Is that not true?
No, they always
No.
do 6 months
No,
after
it's
release.
cash only for the first 6
Because
months.
they said the value, so I thought maybe that's why they were going to put it in.
I think
so
they-
shocked
No, they
and proud of
typically
them.
say they're going to put it in the store for points at such and such time.
Yeah, they've announced the date,
Yeah.
I believe. It may not be a specific date, but it may be the month, but it should be there on the promo page that they'll release it for points on X month.
I don't see a Vecna guest pass right now.
Is there one for Isle of Dread? I don't even know.
There is.
There is.
According to
okay.
the wiki, there is.
Okay.
I'm logged in right now, so yeah, there is Isle of Dread, but I don't
Okay.
see a Vecna one.
There's no Vectum one. So yeah, so it might not be here for years. So
Looks like
Yeah.
they have up through grip of
Maybe-
the hidden hand.
so if you don't have the money to buy it, maybe grind those points and try to buy it when it comes to the store. Best I can say. Well, guys, is there anything else you all have to say? I think I'm out of questions here from Twitch chat. Waisakai and Cozy, do you have anything from your chats? Anyone?
We had some comments and stuff, but we touched on
We
a
did.
lot of those. Hmm
Okay.
Yeah, not any questions.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're done then. I think that'll be it for the podcast today. Before we leave, I guess I'll go around and have you all plug your stuff, where people can find you, social media, YouTube, Twitch, whatever else you want to plug, guild website. You want to start, Arcanaverse?
Sure. Twitch.tv/Arcanaverse, Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's where you'll find me exploring the lore, doing the stuff, getting all the items, doing builds. Come on over. It's a good time.
And I'll link all their stuff on the YouTube side in the description. I'll link to all their YouTubes and Twitches and all that.
Thanks,
Druidspire,
Axel.
you want to go next?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Druidspire on everything. Twitch TV, Druidspire, YouTube, Druidspire, Twitter, X, Blue Sky. Call it what you will. Yeah. I don't have a regular stream schedule. I try to stream Thursday nights unless something's going on. I try not to stream on Wednesdays or Fridays unless I get to run my show early on Lojo side because my professor is out of town, like next week. And Saturdays depends on if I'm actually working for the second job. So, but I try to play a variety of things. I try to focus on Lojo and DDO, but occasionally I'll throw some WoW in there, which is what I'm going to be doing later tonight.
Dilemma,
And, yeah.
you want to go next?
Yeah, Dilemma Ender, Twitch TV. I usually stream Tuesdays, Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern, getting some guild raids and pug raids going on. Saturdays, usually 3 to 6, Axel raids. And then whatever randomness we get into late Saturday nights.
Glassjaws?
Yep. Catch me streaming here on Twitch on twitch.com/_glass_jaws. And then tonight and on Fridays, you can catch me on Wanderer's Haven. We've got Hunter the Reckoning tabletop RPG tonight. And then Fridays, we're doing Daggerheart.
Cozy?
Hey, I'm Cozy, and I stream here on Twitch, and I do content creating on like YouTube and Patreon and all that stuff. And you can find all my links on my About page on my twitch.tv/cozybean. And yeah, I stream most days of the week, 7:30 a.m. Mountain Time and 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time. And yeah, I have it's like a chat show stream mixed with variety games and special segments, and then a big chunk of the time, like regularly, the game that I do regularly is DDO. So,
She also likes portmanteaus.
portmanteaus.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Weissikat?
My Sky, Twitch, YouTube stuff. I play DDO mostly weekend, sometimes evening during the week, and I just do random stuff. If I TR, I did all that.
All right,
Swing
guys.
sticks.
Wait,
Play
can I
some
say
sticks.
something?
Yeah, go for it. Weissikat, were you done, or did you have more stuff to plug?
No, I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, this was an awesome podcast, and everyone here is awesome and really good at games and fun and talented and great conversation. So go give them a follow or go check them out. And they're great and they're helpful and they're useful and they're fonts of knowledge. And thank you, Axel, for putting this all together and for inviting us.
And thank you all for taking the 3+ hours out of your weekend. Really appreciate it. So, all right, guys, I'll see you all next time. I'll be right back with Raid Stream. I'm going to end the stream, though, to get a fresh VOD, and I'll be right back.